What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another installment of the Casually Chelsea show. Pardon the tardiness. Your man has to eat. No chicken nuggets from me, though. I am accompanied here by the panel of the Bridge 258, Oliver Twist, Mr. Chicken Nuggets, and Scott. Be sure to, before we start the show, be sure to like the stream, subscribe if you're new to the channel, hit the bell notification as well so you're notified whenever we do go live. Also, check out the links below in the description, leave a comment, let us know your thoughts and everything, and consider becoming a member. Yeah, it is, it really is. Consider becoming a member, ladies and gents, as it does help out the channel. Big up to everyone in the chat. Hey, it's all good. Listen, this is what happens when I'm prepared and I don't have to rush. I'm too relaxed now. I'm not on the edge. Now that I'm like, I'm chilling. I got everything ready.
I'm ready, boys. I'm ready.
My mind's not ready.
I got the ball. I'm ready.
Ready to throw a curveball and all that stuff.
Yeah, man. I'm ready.
All right, ladies and gents. Let's start off the show, and I'm already forgetting everything again. This is ridiculous. All right, let's get this marker going. There we go. All right.
What? Watching.
All right, listen, there's a reason this is called Casually FC. I don't claim to be a hardcore fan. I don't claim to know everything about ball. Sometimes I will ask dumb questions, and sometimes just because I don't understand certain things, I will also ask questions as to why things work out the way they were. I hope Ahmed didn't break anything.
I think I did.
Oh, my days. Broke his new mic.
I think I just broke my PC. 1 second, man.
This is going well.
We're really
Anyways,
professional here on Casually FC.
dude, this is great. This is why it's called Casually FC, right? Like, people I think enjoy the personalities and Chris, and then how casual it is. Okay, we are not hardcore, but we have opinions. We like to have discussions, and if you guys, like I said, enjoy the podcast that we do here, the live podcast, please be sure to smash up those likes. Anyways, my first topic was going to be pretty much this, unlocking Caicedo. So yesterday we saw what could potentially be, and arguably is, Caicedo's best performance in this team. We've seen a few brilliant performances from him throughout the season as well. But just referring to yesterday's game, Moises Caicedo game by numbers versus Aston Villa, 102 touches, 100% shot accuracy, 91% pass accuracy, 15 passes into the final third, which is the most. That's the Enzo role, right? 12 out of 14 duels won. 11 times that he won possession. He made 5 tackles. He won 4 fouls, 2 clearances, and 2 shots. This guy had a man of the match performance, very well deserved. What I want to ask is, I guess this is where we're gonna bring out our most tactical in us, right? I would like to. What the hell's up?
I wanna. Can you get the last comment up for me quickly? Just get the last comment up for me, innit? Listen, that's the last comment. I wear this jersey to remind this people that the guy who wore this jersey, he got to a conference final. He can get past round 2, but others, you know what I mean? MB can't do that, you know what I mean? When he matters the most, that's why I'm wearing this. This is a hater wearing a jersey. If you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say.
Damn. I need that in my soundboard, the damn thing. But Ahmed, I'll start off with you, man. And obviously, everyone who knows, just get involved. But why is it that yesterday we saw the best version of Caicedo we've seen all season? Why is it that happened? What changed?
Nothing changed. It's an individual performance.
I think something did change, Ahmed. I can say happily is where he was pushed up a bit more further up in the field, and that's why we got probably the best out of Caicedo. He's up further, and was it Gallagher or someone else like sitting deeper than him anyway? Gallagher,
Make sure to call him a fraud. Staffy, I need you on Tuesday. Make sure to remind him that he's a fraud and that he stole the MVP. That's all I want you to know from my guy, Gyokeres. I want you to tell him.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? My guy, Gyokeres, got an MVP stolen because of this fraud and Kendrick Perkins. Let him know, man. He's a fraud anyway. First round exit. I need that at the Garden tomorrow. I need that at the Garden. I'm watching on Tuesday.
Nice.
Right. That's why, to me, we saw a better Caicedo. He's actually the one actually being box to box, going up and down, and being everywhere. That's where we should use. That's how we should use the Caicedo, not sitting deep. Sitting deep, Caicedo is not getting the best out of Caicedo. Yeah, he can do well there. I think we spoke about stuff like that as well. He can do well sitting back, but him being everywhere, being box to box, is a different Caicedo, and that's why we saw a different Caicedo. I thought he was literally everywhere, passing, tackling, touches. He had a couple of shots. Yeah, they weren't that great of a shot, I don't think, but I guess they was on target, like I said, 100% accuracy.
My guy, man. That's what I'm talking about.
But yeah, that's why I thought we saw better Caicedo, because he's
so basically he decided to play as 8. So who was
natural 8.
So who was playing behind him, Chris? Then
Gallagher.
So you saying Gallagher's unlocked Caicedo? Is that what you're saying? So Gallagher's unlocked Caicedo?
No,
Huh? Hey, I'm just asking questions. You know,
it was actually Poch using his head for one. He should be using Enzo to do that.
Listen, that's the real question, man. We need to ask the questions, man. I'm asking the right questions.
Enzo should be the one sitting deeper, where Poch should just tell him to sit deeper. And when Enzo sits deeper, he's actually really good there as well. So he should just sit deeper and let Caicedo do all the work.
Are we saying that, are we really saying that Enzo's been locking up Gallagher and
no, Caicedo? We're not saying that. We're saying we're not doing this. We're saying Poch is some reason used Enzo this season as a 10. Yeah, he's used Enzo as a 10 this season. We've seen he's used Enzo further up in Caicedo majority of the season, so that is why.
You know what, man? You know what? Yeah. Furthermore, sell Enzo, man. You know what I mean? He's keeping our attackers.
Why do you invite this dude on, Marshall?
Why do you have Staffy's in the chat, dude? Why do you
Well, why not, man? Listen, I'm not being serious. When it gets to being serious, you hear my actual.
Staffy's shameless, though. He'll take you seriously. He'll run with it.
Yeah, that's why I have to
he doesn't like Enzo. Staffy doesn't like Enzo. I'm actually asking.
Have you seen his Twitter?
I didn't check.
After every Chelsea game, it's an Enzo agenda.
Damn.
I mean, Enzo would walk into it with no problem. He's a United fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's walking to that midfield. No problem.
You know what?
That's what I said, Chris.
Let's let Oliver
go. Not it. Mino.
Oliver, you had something you wanted to add. Well, he would play with Mino.
All right, so I don't necessarily even think that was the case. I didn't see Gallagher sitting. I thought Gallagher, as he does on the Poch, he has a free role, and he was doing a pretty bad job at it besides the goal. I think where the shift came was when, at half-time, Poch, for some reason, now he's decided it, 8-9 months later, you know what, I'm going to go back and do what I did in pre-season. I'm going to make Gyokeres invert into the midfield, and we can actually have a dedicated double pivot in midfield. I thought that's what helped personally, because Gyokeres in that second half, once he started being used correctly, because that's playing to his strengths, he went up levels, and therefore everyone around him went up levels at the same time. That's the way I see it, at least.
Yep, fact.
You know what it is for me? I just feel like, for me, more than anything, yes, even though I think Gyokeres, obviously inverted and everything, I just personally thought it was really an individual performance from Caicedo. Maybe he just thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. Or something. For me, I thought, because the tactics didn't really change that much, really, other than Gyokeres, if you're being honest. That's
how profound it was, Ahmed, because we had Mudryk playing narrow before, and that was terrible.
Fair enough.
I think when it comes to the going forward stuff, I agree with you, Ahmed, in terms of I don't think there was a tactical change. I think just Caicedo was just doing more going forward. But we know he can do that. Like, we saw that at Brighton, both the season before De Zerbi came and then when De Zerbi came. We've seen that. Defensively, though, I agree with what Oliver said. And this is why I will never, ever give credit to Poch for anything tactical that he does, especially this point in the season. Because when Caicedo's best games happens this season, when he's not been isolated and left on an island by himself, whether it's been Enzo, Gallagher, Gyokeres next to him, whoever, his best games have come when he's not isolated. So you'll never, ever see me give credit to Poch for deciding, like Oliver said, and I mentioned this on Lewis's stream as well, he decided that I'm now going to do what I did in pre-season, which we already saw worked because Gyokeres literally played there in pre-season and got an assist to Maatsen in one game. I can't remember what game it was, but he got an assist playing as an inverted left-back in midfield where he played a line-splitting pass between two centre-backs. And he hasn't, from that moment on, never played him like that again. Never once played him like that. And has spent the entire season playing Caicedo isolated. So cool, you'll never see me give credit to Poch for that. Oh, cool. You finally did something. It took you 34 games to do something that we knew was working from the first game in pre-season.
You know, one thing that we can say, Poch's learning, man. He's learning, man. What can I say? Maybe next season, push through.
I can't finish the sentence.
He's learning.
That news after when he's sacked is going to be incredible.
I still can't see
It's
him
gonna
getting
hit like
sacked,
crack.
I still to God, bro. I
Well,
still can't see him getting sacked, bro.
We'll
No, he's
talk about
getting
it
sacked.
because
It's
there's.
after the
I
comment,
think
it's
he actually might get sacked. Yeah,
I was going to say,
we're gonna
we'll get
discuss
to the
that
comments,
because
but it's now or when not. He's getting
yeah. And I was told he's a yes man, but I don't know. That's not yes man behavior. But I agree with Scott to an extent. Actually, no, I do agree with Scott because the thing is, like, I've been thinking about this lately, right? I think if you look at since we've come into this new year, we've come into 2024, I feel like Poch has taken steps towards improving and getting the team to be more consistent. And I say that in the sense that, like, more times than not lately, the burden of blame has been mostly on the players and not Poch. Most of the games lately have been Poch setting us up for a win and the players just letting us down or not being clinical, so on and so forth. However, all that is still building up to neutralize what the damage he did earlier in the season. It's all to neutralize all that damage you did earlier in the season. You can't undo all the shit you did earlier this season. You had a preseason where you sold us a dream. It sold us what it looked like a very solid system, a very beautiful attacking football. It looked wonderful in the preseason. I was really content with what I was seeing from all players. And then to just scrap it in the beginning of the season and say, well, Joe's playing left wing and I'm going to put Levi Colwell left back. And I'm going to shift Gallagher into the pivot until Caicedo comes in, and now I have to shoehorn Gallagher into the 10 position because Carney's out and Nkuku's out. Like, it's just to do that for such a huge portion of the season, not learn from your mistakes, not go back to the thing that was working for you in the preseason. That is very criminal to me. And it's like, oh, now that the pressure's on, you want to go back to the things that you knew were working. Like, have you been experimenting this whole time? Do you not realize that we're trying to get into Europe? Do you think you're going to just do it last minute? It's like a kid. It's like a university student trying to, do a 10-page essay. You only got one page done, and it's due in an hour. It's like, my guy, you should have been doing this the whole season. Why are you only resorting to it now? Why are you only resorting to these functioning tactics now? And that's what annoys me about Poch. That's why, like, I to an extent agree with Scott. Like, I have a hard time giving it credit for anything that he does because he put us in this situation to begin with. Well, he's part of the blame for the situation that we're in because of the points, because of the poor performances, so on and so forth. But now we're seeing Caicedo, who's been ridiculed all season by rivals, by our own fans, and he puts on a performance like that, and I'm wondering, and I'm thinking, like, why the fuck can't Caicedo do that more often? What the hell changed? I know for a fact it's not just because Enzo's not in the team. That could be part of the reason, because he's stepping up to do the Enzo role, I guess, but regardless, like, why can't we see more of that?
I think that is a part of it, and that's not to slight Enzo. Caicedo's covering for a man with a hernia,
Yeah.
I think I do agree with what Oliver said. Like, he's been going for 6 months? Like, is it 6 months? Enzo's been going for the hernia?
That's what he said on his Instagram post.
Yeah, hot from the horse's mouth. Then like it's been for 6 months, and Enzo's been dealing with that. So obviously, Enzo's performances are gonna not be as good as a fully fit Enzo. So that's kind of normal. And Caicedo has to do a lot more, so maybe that's why as well. That would make sense.
Do you know what? Can I just point out, do you know why this comment doesn't run? Because he did stuff in pre-season that we didn't see until game 34 in the Premier League season. Madsen, by the way, is currently on loan at Dortmund. Forget left back. And we went down earlier in the season, by the way, and we didn't have Chukwuemeka, and we didn't have what's his face, and we were concerned about wingers. Why didn't he play Madsen more in attacking positions? He did in pre-season. That's the guy who played the most in pre-season in terms of on the wing or in attacking area. But you didn't put him there, apart from like 10 minutes at the end of the game. So that's why this comment doesn't run. You changed your entire system from pre-season to the game because one guy got injured, and stuff that was working in pre-season, you then decided not to do because that one got injured.
I did not get all of that. Sorry.
What was that last part, Scott?
I said
Is your internet?
that,
You're moving like RoboCop out here.
I said that, brilliant. I said that he doesn't, like, that this comment doesn't run because the stuff that he was doing well in pre-season when it came to player profiling, when it came to systems, he didn't do that. The moment that he changed everything, and it's stuff that was working. Like I said,
Yeah,
you had Kukurea inverted, and it worked. You had that in attacking areas, and it worked. You decided to do neither.
And we were questioning it too in the preseason. We were questioning why the fuck is Ian Madsen playing left wing, and all of a sudden him and his link-up play with Jackson, he was scoring. I think he was. Did he end up being top goal scorer in the preseason?
He was. I think that was Jackson, but he was getting a lot of assists from the 10 area, from the right wing.
He was effective. He at least had a GA in every appearance he made. He looked so promising, and the football looked fluid. We were. I mean, defensively, I think there were early signs that defensively we could be had at.
A few guys, but pre-season, don't really matter.
We were playing with Bashir Humphreys in the back. You know, I'm sure Lewis Hall made an appearance back there as well. Like
we were playing Kepa in goal at the time as well.
Kepa in goal as well. What we've been playing since about like half through the season, since our attackers started clicking, but our defense looked horrible. That's closer to what we've been playing in pre-season. So then why did he spend months playing a more defensive system?
And that's the part that baffles me. So
the only reason, I guarantee, by the way, sorry to interrupt, Marshall, I guarantee the only reason he switched is because Palmer just became insane. And the reason I know that is because he bases his system around one player. First it was Nkunku, then he got injured, then he changed everything. Then he maybe for the first 2 games, he thought he hit like a miracle. He hit gold dust with Carney. He got injured. Then it was just defensive. We're going to like play slow. Everything's going to be pedestrian. And then all of a sudden, Palmer comes out of nowhere like a shooting star in Poch's eyes. And since then, we've been doing this attacking, like playing transition, but our back line looks more open than a stripper's legs in fucking Amsterdam.
Huh? Oh, man. But do you guys, and I guess we'll close on this topic and then move on to the next one. Do you guys think that next season, if we have a Lavia, hypothetically, right? Actually, not even hypothetically. Let's just say next season, if we get a Lavia, if we do a 3 in the middle with Lavia as a single pivot and Caicedo and Enzo as 8s, do you think that unlocks the best for both Caicedo and Enzo?
Well, it would depend who the manager is. Do they want to play a 3 in midfield like that, or do they want to play a 2 and a 10?
I brought up this idea yesterday, and I was told it's too defensive, apparently. So
that doesn't seem very defensive to me. Just because people think Caicedo's a DM, which to a certain extent he is, but many people have also touted he plays better as an 8. So
I mean, it's a bit like the the old Jorginho, Kante, Kovacic midfield. You've got a good midfield for keeping possession there, but in terms of creating central chances, you're going to really be relying on your wide man a lot with a midfield like that, most likely.
Yeah, but I mean, time will tell what happens. But I need a manager that's going to get the best out of both those players on the pitch at the same time. Like. It has to be possible. There's no way that it can't. They both can't exist at the same time. So it just baffles me. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic that I had for you guys.
Hi.
What's going on, Prime? Let's talk about our injury roundup. Yes, ladies and gents, surprise, surprise. We have some more injuries. Yes, it's a lovely time to be a Chelsea fan, especially with all these injuries. All right, let's go ahead and... Oh, my mouse moved real mad. Okay. First tweet I have here is Cardi Chukwuemeka has had a recurrence of the knee injury he suffered in August against West Ham United. So, injured his knee again. Lovely to see. And then we have, to add on to that, Raheem Sterling feels something in his lower back. Both him and Carney are set to be assessed. Moving on, Levi Colwill has returned to training at Cobham, and I believe this is full team training, not just partial team training. So, good to see Levi is going to be making his way back. Hopefully, he injured a tendon or something in his toe.
No, he broke his toe, I think it was.
Oh, he
broke his toe, but it did a lot of damage.
He was meant to be back for City, by the way, but
Yeah,
here we are.
For a long time.
You know what it is, man? We've got more guys on their knees than a brothel house, bro. Pause. Like, what's going on? Honestly.
Huh?
You didn't get a joke, Marshall?
What do you mean by that?
Okay.
For fuck's sake, is Zesty Ahmed back?
Because the knee injuries, all the ACLs because of men on their knees. Is that what you're implying?
I said we've got more men, we've got more players on their knees than we have than at the brothel house.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
You should get that.
You should get
Marshall, ignore.
No, I get it, but
Ignore Zesty Ahmed. Ignore Zesty Ahmed, bro.
all right.
It should never be
Ignoring Zesty
repeated
Ahmed.
twice. No.
Okay. Reece James, Levi Cole, Christopher Nkunku, and Cole Palmer all trained today. This was before the the Aston Villa match. I don't think Nkunku was on the bench. He'll probably maybe make an appearance on the bench for Thursday. I doubt Reece James is going to be on the bench. Levi Cole will. You know what kind of bothers me, Scott? Actually, now that you bring up the whole hope not the Nkunku thing, why is it that we treated Nkunku with Saran wrap and all this like some fragile player, but when you know what, I'll ask this question later. When we get to that segment.
I hope that of all the players mentioned outside of Palmer, I hope none of the rest play the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't want to see Nkunku play. I want to see him just stay fit. Same with Reece James,
James, Colwill, Arne. Like, all these players that are currently out injured, I don't want to see them for the rest of the season.
Listen, whether he plays or doesn't play, the surgery is not working, so it's fine.
All right, whatever. Continuing on with Thiago Silva, one more potential injury at Chelsea. Pochettino. We need to assess Thiago Silva and see it is a pain in his groin. I think it is similar to his injury at Crystal Palace. Thiago will confirm soon that he's leaving Chelsea at the end of the current season. So, chances are we actually saw Thiago Silva's last game.
He never gets injured as well. That's kind of crazy to see him get injured. Never gets injured. I don't know what type of injury it is, but
I mean, he's getting up there.
Hey, man, that's what
he's been getting up there for years. He still never gets injuries.
Listen, mate, he's 4 years old, Chris. Get a life, man.
He's 49
get
years
injuries.
old, actually, but
This doesn't get him often, Chris. He got injured in the Champions League final. Remember?
I mean, yeah, he had injured in game, but yeah,
Bro,
but he's still fine.
he got hooked in that final, but
He got injured in this game too.
He got injured in the final. He didn't get
David
hooked.
Luiz, he got hooked in that final, but David Luiz played with one leg, just so everyone knows. So everyone knows. But anyways, continue, Marshall. Sorry.
You know what, man? Let's talk about Fatboy Reece. How's he doing? How is he going, man? How's Fatboy Reece
Go
doing?
ahead. You guys want to talk about it? Go ahead and talk about it.
Go on, talk
No,
about
but
your
you-
idol, man.
Fat
Listen,
shame
man.
fellow man. Go ahead.
Listen, but you're the one
Go
that.
ahead.
Listen, I'm waiting for the news. Like, where is he at? Where's Fatboy Reece at? Like, is he?
He's
gonna
just
be back?
training. He's just training. He's getting ready for next season. Just to bench your boy Gusto.
I don't even. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'll let
Yeah.
you guys go.
You know what, man? Don't worry, man. Do you know what, man? Listen, I hope he does. But the reality is, mate, he's not gonna last 10 games. Then he's gonna be out again as usual. So, you know, what I mean, enjoy Chris, man.
Alright. We will see.
I mean, see, there's no
I ain't
comeback
gonna say
because he
much.
knows it's true. He's not
I
gonna
ain't saying much.
He can't say anything because he knows it's true, man. Your boy can't.
I prefer really not to.
I remember your
Not to
facts, like
speak.
saying Pochettino.
If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
I know your facts, Ahmed. I know your
Alright,
facts.
bro. Yes, because my facts existed in the reality if we had serious ownership, but sadly we didn't.
But you
Don't
knew this
forget,
ownership.
Chris.
How
Don't
long
forget,
it
Don't forget, he said that Raheem Sterling is going to be sold to Saudi in August.
took. Yeah.
Don't forget
I
he said
know
that
his
too.
facts. I know his facts. I know Ahmed.
Hey man, yes, Raheem Sterling gonna be sold to Saudi in August, but
Mm-hmm.
it'll be August 2023. It'll be August
I just want
2024. It'll be August 2024. You know what I'm saying,
He's so
Marshall?
shameless.
Yeah.
He's shameless.
We had to really
You know what I mean?
bring up Reese.
I mean, he was part of the news. There's a
I
little bit
didn't
of an obsession here, but it is what it is. You forgot Leslie in partial team training. Is he? I had a list. I don't know where it freaking disappeared to.
That's what I was
Marshall,
saying, bro.
where is Fafana, man? I thought we'd be playing by February.
Hey,
Hold that,
listen, I
Marshall.
didn't come at Reese.
Hold that, you fraud. Hold
Don't
that,
make
you
me
fraud.
hop on
Again,
the
I hope he
Reese
doesn't. I hope he
train.
doesn't play till next season.
I mean,
Bro,
yeah.
we should, on a real, we should want none of these guys. We should want none of these guys that are injured currently or coming back into partial team training to play for the rest of the season. But it's terrorist manager in charge.
I want. Listen, but if Poch is here next season, they're gonna play for him either way. So what matters?
Oh, he's not here next season, though. We know he's not here next season.
You keep listen. Everyone's saying we know, but like he used to say, he's not.
No,
Honestly,
Ahmed, he's not here next season.
No.
Like, he's not here next season. You can't speak the way you did about your employees and those above employers and those above you, and then stay. Do you know how?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know
you
what
know
he
how
said.
bad
so
that would look.
I don't know what he said, so that's why.
We'll go over. We're not too far away from that segment. I put it kind of really close to the beginning. Yeah, Leslie Wichuk was also in team training. I forgot who else. There's a whole list, and I lost it. I don't
Wasn't
know.
Reece James in partial training? That's what I was actually going to talk to you guys about.
Yeah, he is in partial training.
Let's get him ready. Let's get him suited up. I want to see him at least play once. If he can play once,
No.
then that's what I want to see, man. Isn't that
If
right,
he can
Chris?
play
But-
once, of course he
the
can
thi-
play once.
But the thing is, guys, like I think Reese is gonna want to play, so he'll force
I don't
himself
care.
to play.
Don't just sit his ass down on the reserves.
I heard him speak. Like he said, he's not gonna go in. So like just wanting to play it every time.
I'm being genuinely serious. You tell him to
Really
sit his
cool
ass down on the reserves and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And enjoy it.
I mean, you know, at best,
He won't.
he can be on the bench and then come on last like 10 minutes of the game of the season.
No.
Last 10 minutes.
No, I'm
You
not.
can have that.
I'm not letting him play any minutes. There's no reason. There's no need.
There is no reason I agree.
You know, there is a reason, man. I want him to play such that we can see Gusto's levels.
Because there's levels. He ain't reached Reese's levels yet.
You're
Even
Just
can
hold
find
yourself.
this.
Hold yourself from that.
Listen, you know what I mean? He's gone above and beyond the stars.
He ain't gone beyond nothing.
You know what I mean? Just like Buzz
He's had
Lightyear.
one good season, yes.
Jesus Christ, you don't think he's gonna have another good season?
He might,
You know,
but I'm not gonna be just jumping on a
Chris
bandwagon
is-
like this.
Chris has got
Just to throw out like Reece James, who's
Chris
done
has
it
got
year
Reece's-
after year.
so deep in his throat that he can't think about another player surpassing his own guy. That's all I'll say.
Jesus Christ, man!
You know
Why
what
do
I'm
you
saying?
always go? Why do you always go for the throat and the buttholes and the liquids
Places
and all
Ahmed
these
goes,
things,
man.
bro? Like this is
Listen, man.
Ahmed, man.
It's because I'm just here.
No boundaries.
I'm just here to, I'm just here to state the facts that the man them, don't want to hear. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing. That's what you're doing. I mean, that's what you're doing. What do you want me to tell you? What do you want me to tell you?
Man, wanna hear.
That's what they're doing, bro.
Man speaking like Alex Jones out here, bro. They're trying to silence me.
I'll let you do the talking on Reece James.
Yeah, sure. But a little frustrating that Carney got injured again, the same knee issue. I really think if Pochettino doesn't get sacked, can we at least sack the medical team?
Jesus
Like-
Christ, Prime. What the fuck?
Oh, I found it, guys. Here it is. This is what I was looking for the whole time.
You're right, Prime.
He's got a COVID mask on.
Is that discussion over?
Yeah, it's
Is that
over,
all?
bro.
There's
Not
no silence
necessarily.
there. I see.
The following injury updates have been issued ahead of Chelsea's Premier League fixtures against Aston Villa. Levi Colwill in partial team training. Reece James in partial team training. And Nkunku in partial team training. Robert Sanchez in partial team training. That's Scott's favorite player. Leslie Iheanacho in partial team training. Enzo Fernandez, early stages of recovery following successful groin surgery. Carney Chukwemeka undergoing medical assessment. Raheem Sterling undergoing medical assessment. Ben Chilwell undergoing rehabilitation program. Malo Gusto undergoing rehabilitation program. Wesley Fofana continued to undergo his rehabilitation program, and Lavia. Okay, so these two are out for the season for sure.
Can I ask you a question, guys? What's happened to Sterling? How can we start to become injured now?
Poch wanted a piggyback, and I don't know, he broke his back. Isn't it?
Okay, see? Hey, you can talk about me saying stuff. What's that then?
Yeah, no, I called him out on it too, man. What the hell, Chris? Wait, but what the hell? Yeah, I don't know. He pulled his back. I don't know. Doesn't he have back issues already? Like, isn't that why he runs the way he runs?
He's got a back issue.
No, he runs like that way. Just for balance.
No, I'm serious. I thought he had. I thought like what's this, like a form of scoliosis or something.
That's
That's why he runs.
Marshall. That's for balance. That's for balance.
That would be news to me, bro.
I swear Raheem Sterling has back issues or something. Wait, no. I gotta Google it. Why does Raheem Sterling run like that? That's actually a Google
I
term.
bet a lot of people's question is balance.
Bro, this is insane.
Why is Raheem Sterling run like a goose? Is the first.
He runs like Alma, man, from Scooby-Doo. That's what he runs
These
like.
men are talking about.
He does, you know.
He does.
When it comes to Sterling, I saw that he's not actually injured. He's fallen out with Poch.
Yes, he's getting sold. I won the war.
He ain't won shit.
Listen,
Yes.
listen, boys. I want you to know, yeah. Put me full screen, Marshall, for a quick second.
Nah, don't do that.
Too late.
Listen,
Yeah.
I won the war, boys. Sterling, when he leaves, yeah, I'm doing a special stream on Casually FC specifically, yeah.
What?
Just for everyone, yeah.
No, you're not. No, you're not. I did not.
He just
no.
made arrangements.
No, this is not what we agreed to. No. Hold on, let me get this all you guys on the screen again.
Is he gone?
Yeah,
No, he's here.
you're getting that sorted out immediately.
Oh,
Wait, Ahmed, what did you say we're having?
A Sterling stream.
When Sterling
Yeah.
gets sold, we're gonna have a Sterling sold stream.
What, a 30-minute special stream, is it?
Ahmed, do you know who's next? You know who's next?
Who's next?
Didn't he take himself out?
no, I did not.
I heard
Brian, that was perfect timing. I thought he was going to say Reese. I would have left him on if I knew he was going to say Gallagher.
You know what, Marshall? I said Gallagher.
Yeah, we know.
Oh my god.
Timing was there.
Listen, we all know Reese gets one more season.
At least you give him that prime. At least you give him that, eh?
Well, I have to because he got the surgery.
Oh.
I have to. I want to see him fail, so I need to give him the year.
You want to see him fail, huh?
You son of
That's
a
my
bitch.
guy, Mark. That's my guy. That's my guy, Prime. Respect it, man.
Hey,
Mixed reactions from the audience, Prime.
only all you want. When he's sold, we're having a Reece James leaving party.
When he's sold.
Did you say when he sold, we're having a Reece James meat party?
Leaving fine.
Huh?
Oh, I heard meat. I heard meat.
I mean, the way they said you won't be games, I won't be surprised.
What the hell?
What's going on here, man?
I was so confused.
Why do you think about Marshall? Why do you think?
Listen,
What?
man. Apparently, I'm not awake today.
You got,
Nah, you need
we've
that
got back
coffee.
issues. We've talked about meat. Like, what's going on, Marshall, bro? You got Chris here talking about
Hey,
other stuff as well.
Marshall.
Like, what's going on, bro?
Marshall,
Like,
I'm not. Marshall, I won't trust you at this party because of that comment, and so you're not invited. No offense.
Okay, I didn't want to come.
I
There's
mean,
no
there's only
beer,
going
I
to be two
heard.
Prime and
I
Ahmed.
heard there
You
was
don't
no
wanna
beer.
what?
There's only going to be two people, Prime and Ahmed.
Huh?
you didn't want to watch. Oh my
Just
god,
you
bro.
two together, man.
You're
Alone.
Bro.
finished, bro. You're actually finished today, bro. Get out of here, man. You're
Bro, this
finished, man.
this stream has completely derailed.
Yeah.
We are not a news show. We're just a casual show today. We're Casually FC. That's it. Oh man, but hey, you guys love us, so we're here. Okay, so next little talking point before we get to the big one, which you guys want to talk about, it's the Poch thing. Apparently, My voice is cracking. But also, there's been some changes. There's been some...
What is going on?
Who made that noise? Was that Scott?
Apparently, there's been some changes in the model. Okay. Let's go on to this next story. Okay, Jacob Steinberg. This is a recognition. There is a recognition within football circles that the chaotic nature of life under Chelsea's new owners made it difficult for Graham Potter to succeed. He will thread carefully before making his next move, according to Jacob Steinberg. I think he's talking about Graham Potter threading carefully, or he may be talking about Bowley, the ownership. I don't know actually.
Or maybe both. I
Maybe
don't know.
both.
I mean, it would match with what Graham Potter's doing. He did recently decline the Ajax job.
Yeah,
he
that's
declined
what I
it. I
heard
thought
as
he
well.
was taking it.
He declined it for money. That's all it is, bro. The people don't understand. He accepted everything else except the money. They're just going to need to improve the money offer.
So we'll see. We'll see if he's a. I don't know. It's so hard to see Graham Potter strike me as someone who is like wants to get a good pay. I feel like he just loves football.
Nah, he
Doesn't
wants
care.
Listen, man. Listen, just because you don't understand, the difference between millions. For him, he understands it, man. That's his piece, man. That's
Bro.
his money.
Know your role, Graham Potter. You're from Brighton. I'm just kidding.
Maybe they offered him something that's not nice, man. You never know, bro.
Surely they offered him something decent.
Nah, man. They probably offered him something, and he was like, "You're taking the piss, probably."
No, he got
Probably
10
offered
million
him-
at Chelsea.
Well, that's yeah.
I mean,
that's
bro's
so
just come from
fucking
12
nuts.
million a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also like he must have been offered more than what he was getting at Brighton. It's Ajax. It's not some low level team.
I mean, it's Ajax.
I mean,
but
Premier League
10 million-
revenue is
Yeah, there you go.
is a lot.
Yeah, fair enough.
we literally have a league here where Nottingham Forest can get promoted 2 years ago, and they can go and poach players from Europe
Yeah, that's
like they're a big club.
Hmm.
You
Alright,
don't see
but let's
Ajax,
continue.
no, not even by Unic, really.
Understand, members of the board had directly informed Poch not to mention the lack of experience in the squad. Poch still did this anyways. Some at the top were not very happy with this. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the source is here, but this did make its run around the mill. And then this happened following very shortly after. According to Simon Phillips, Chelsea have ended their under-25 transfer rule and are looking to balance out the squad in the summer. Now, this to me kind of smells a little fishy. Because the way I read that, to me it kind of seems that someone in the board doesn't want... Because it kind of seems like this... Just poof, all of a sudden, all right, we're not sticking to the rule anymore. After we've committed so much to that rule. To me, it kind of seems that someone in the board didn't want Poch mentioning the lack of experience so that he could cover his ass.
Marshall, can I speak on this if I may quickly? Yeah, I actually don't. I kind of can't slightly disagree with you because, again, this is from S.I. Phillips. Now, I know that he's kind of reliable, somewhat reliable at the end of the day. Again, yes, some level of reliability, but at the same time, who's to say that this isn't the case? Let's say maybe they've said they brought enough young G's. Now they need some guys that are a bit more experienced, and they don't need that and a bit more older. They may be looking at opportunities like how they may have like lost the opportunity to maybe getting someone like a Madison, maybe. Mm-hmm. They may be seeing other guys that they like other top positions like left back, but a lot of the guys are either 25 or older. You look at Theo Hernandez and others, maybe in that left back position. You look at the striker position. There might be some guys you might want that are slightly older, even when it comes to wingers. You never know, bro.
Well, I'm kind of like in the middle because the other thing is too. I mean, time will tell if this is true. Because the other tweet I have here for you guys is this one. I'm not from David Ornstein. I'm not aware of Chelsea looking to change the recruitment model at all, but conversations will take place between the head coach, sporting directors, and ownership to try to ensure the improvement they and the fans all expect materializes.
Yeah. So again,
Marsh,
go ahead.
okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brian.
Who is this a quote from?
The one in front of the screen?
Yes.
David
Ornstein.
Ornstein.
That's honestly.
No. Yeah, but like, is that a quote from someone?
No, that's his own quote. He's saying his own stuff there. That's
Okay, so this is his opinion of what he's heard.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, and the other tweet you put out, is that a quote from someone directly?
No, that's something that he's been told essentially. That no more under 25 models happening.
Both tweets, in my opinion, it's just like for traction. It's a load of waffle because this whole 25 and under rule, and yet we've been linked with Victor Osimhen and Ivan Toney for a year.
Well,
It's waffle.
Victor Osimhen links have kind of died out. I'm not going to lie.
No, but
No, they haven't. Also, Osimhen's not
no,
over
no.
25.
Marshall, you
Yeah,
didn't
he's
understand
25.
that. We've been linked to
Osimhen's 25.
Marshall.
So it
We've
still
been linked
falls
to-
with the under 25.
We've been linked to two strikers who are over that under 23 or under 25 age bracket rule, which tells me this rule is bullshit. It's only been used because we know in Raws it's not a real thing because we've been linked to older players.
I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I don't think that that's necessarily true either. I think there is some truth to it because when you look at our signings and our transfers, it all falls under the same category. It's all under 25s.
No, but it's still bullshit because
No,
why
they're
have we been? Why were we heavily linked to those
Most
two?
of them.
That's my
Osimhen
point.
is
That's my point.
Osimhen is a U25 technically. He's 25 and under.
Ivan Toney's above that age.
But Prime, you also realize that these links also don't just come from Chelsea camp; they come from the players' camp. So the player could easily, the manager of the player and their agents can easily get in touch with journos and send out articles and links to say, "Hey, Chelsea are interested." You know, like
No. We've been
Yes.
linked to Tony but I'm not talking about the player camps. We've been linked to Tony and Osimhen for almost a year from Chelsea sources. We know this. So that tells me this, and I've always said this under 23 or whatever, this bullshit rule, like it's false. Because if we had the opportunity, or if we have the opportunity to sign an elite player that's 25, 26, 28, we will go for it, which is what we are trying to do, or what we've been trying to do, targeting
That's a good point too,
Osimhen and
Sean.
Tony. That's my point. This thing now that we're ending the ruling.
Most of the like.
Hold on. This thing now that we're ending the ruling, great. It gets traction, it gets clicks, and we can use it for content. But in reality, we're always going to end it anyway because this summer, it looks heavily like we're going to sign Osimhen, who is over that age bracket. So
no, he's not. You keep saying that he's not.
how
He's 25 and
is he?
under. He's 25.
Yeah, and he's okay. But so he's just 25. He's basically over
Yes.
that bracket. If it's
No, he's
under
not.
25, he's 25.
It's 25 and under.
Marshall, okay, you're still not refuting my point, really. Do you not understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I
No,
am,
I'm
because he falls under the bracket. You're saying he doesn't. The
Is
only one that
anyone
you
else
said
wearing
that doesn't
Marshall's
fall under
team?
the bracket is
He's
Ivan Toney.
basically saying he's 25, 20, 26.
No,
So,
does
yeah,
anyone
it'll be 26
get
in
what I'm
December.
saying? That this under 25 ruling is BS? Does no one else?
Oh no, I
Also,
thought he was not.
I can't
Yeah.
disagree.
Also,
I can't disagree.
he just turned 25.
No,
by the way.
this under
December.
25 thing is nonsense. This under 25 thing is fully nonsense. Because like, I'm trying to understand this under 25 thing as well. When did this? I'm trying to understand as well for people that think this is a real thing. When did this rule come in? That's what I'm trying to work out.
It seems like it. Listen, I don't want to believe it, but actions do speak louder than words. And although there are some signings in there that don't follow that mold, like Disasi that happened this summer, everything else has been under 25.
Yeah,
25
because
under,
our
whatever.
aim was
Disasi was 25 at the time.
But I think a lot of that.
Oh shit! Never mind.
I think a lot of the signings, or some of the signings we've made, are coincidentally under 25. Like for example, Palmer.
Mhm.
Like, I think that was a signing that came from Joe Shields. The fact that he's 20, I think when we signed him, completely coincidental. Same with Lavia, because Joe Shields recommended him to us. Enzo and Caicedo were after midfielders in the world at the time. Like, the only one that I'd say fall under that rule, and I feel we bought them for that reason, are Mudryk, potentially Madueke, and then the rando people like Washington and that, who are part of the first team or aren't meant to be part of the first team. Even Badiashile was being looked at by Newcastle before we signed him. So it's not like he was a complete unknown that like wasn't being looked at by Premier League clubs. Being looked at by Newcastle. That was Newcastle under Dan Ashworth, who Manchester United are about to take as their sporting director.
Okay, so if I may, I'd kind of disagree with this one because
Gusto as well is another one where it's like he was just one of the best young right backs in the world at the time.
And that was the whole point. So before you go, Ahmed, sorry, before you go, and that's the point I'm trying to get to, Scott, because after when they came and their first transfer window failed, the model then changed to let's get the best young players in the world, which is what we had been trying to do, which is why you get and that was after I think we'd spent so big on Enzo. The whole thing was let's buy the best young players so we don't have to then go to a Brighton or a Benfica and waste 100 mil. Let's find the next Enzo, etc. Which is why we went so heavy on these young players like a Santos, a Caicedo, etc., etc. They're now fixing the model where we've signed all these young players, which is all great, but they now need quality they need quality players around them, the leadership around them, the experience around them, which is what we're now doing this summer. This 25 and under rule, it's nothing that's been officially said from our owners or from our board. It's just a buzzword that journalists and fans and media has taken and spun because it riles up Chelsea fans. It's nothing that's actually true or written in concrete.
So if I may, yeah, I'm gonna discredit a lot of the points that we made here. I actually kind of disagree. I do think there has been some level of our under 25 thing happening. Now again, when we bought Disasi had just turned 25, and so he was already on the cusp. So and plus because of the fact that from what we know, Lawrence Stewart already knew him and everything like that made sense. In Cuckoo, as we already knew, was a Bowley signing, by the way. That was a guy that we had already prepped a long time beforehand, and he'd come in before the directors and everything else here, right? Everyone else you look at, they've been getting the best young players, as you guys have said. But we have never been linked to anyone over the age of 25 except in the striker position, which they've recognized that you need an actual goal scorer for.
Yes, we have.
Where else have you been linked to? No, but that's of recently. I mean, but he's about to turn 25.
That was January, just gone. January, just
about
gone.
to turn 25.
He's like 27, brother.
Are you even sure that source is legit? Who is the source that said that?
He's 28.
Wait.
So he was 27 when he was linked
Who
with
was
us.
the Jonathan Tah source? Who was the Jonathan Tah source before we start saying anything?
I can't remember. It's in January. We got linked with Jonathan Tah.
Let me just recheck the link, yeah, and then if it's legit, we're gonna add it.
That was some time ago. I barely remember it. I think also it's like I agree with both of you. I think two things can be right in this situation. I think the journals do over exaggerate the whole under 25 thing and overblow it, but at the same time, it seems that like the actions have been, we are not linked in any means, shape, or form to anyone. No experienced players, and we know we need experienced players. And
hang on. Before you go, Marshall, actually no, finish your point, and then I want to make a rebuttal to this.
Finishing my point is just going to be that I'm kind of just sick and tired of this ownership waiting until the season's over to learn their lesson and to fix their errors when they've known about this being an issue since Poch was speaking on it, maybe beginning of December, end of November. So it's just that's the part that frustrates me. But time will also tell if this is actually true. But go ahead, Scott.
The thing I would say is what you just said there about them changing at the end of the season or them changing their model isn't true. Because if you believe what people think, they changed their model halfway into the season. Not even halfway, they changed their model 4 months into the season. Because if you believe
How
that they
so?
changed their model when the sporting directors came in, the first sporting director came in the middle of November. So that's what, 3-4 months into the season. So that's apparently when they changed their model. By the way, they were still buying young players the summer that they came when they were effectively the sporting directors. We signed Carney. We signed Fofana, one of the best young centre backs in the world, or someone that's seen as one of the best young centre backs in the world. We signed Caicedo that summer. But guess what? We also signed. We also signed Koulibaly. We also signed Gyokeres. We also signed other guys. We were linked with Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah. But
I'm struggling to understand why people think they would suddenly pivot so far away to the other extreme.
Well, that's also the part that frustrates me, because if this is true and they want to fix their mistakes, why do we have to go back to the other extreme? Why can't we do both? Like, why can't we be in the middle?
Because I don't think they were.
Because we have
I don't
enough
think
young
they were
players.
trying to. Yeah, I don't think they were trying to go from one end of the extreme to the other. I think a lot of it came down to, like, as I said, a lot of these players that they've signed who are young, I think is more of, like, it's just a coincidence.
It's
Because, like, if you look at most,
I think not.
bro.
no, they are, bro. I can name you 4 players. Hang on a second. Let me check something else as well. Bear with me.
Bring up this comment.
I
Sorry,
can name you
Marshall.
4 players, by the way. 4 players who we just signed because of who they were, not because they were young, but because of who they were.
Does no one remember this 25 agent coming out specifically to piss us up about Maddison? Exactly.
Yes.
You know why we didn't go and sign Maddison? Because we had Nkuku. At that point in the summer, he was fit and he was supposed to be our number 10. That's why we didn't go for Maddison. Then Nkuku got injured.
And who?
What? Nkuku.
And who?
I don't care what you're saying.
I ain't seen that guy, man. I don't even know who he is.
I don't care about you, Ahmed. We had Nkuku, and he was supposed to be our star that we put the team around. There was no point going for Maddison. Unfortunately, Nkuku got injured in preseason. Okay. Nkuku got injured in preseason, and Spurs had already signed Maddison. And at that point, we then needed to go and buy another creator. And also, Chukwuemeka got injured against West Ham, so we then needed to buy a creator. This whole thing about under 25 rule was, like Vital said, it came out just to annoy and trigger Chelsea fans. It's a clickbait thing, but it's not real.
Also, the under 25 thing has come out from the same people every time. It's come out from the likes of Nizar Kinsella and Simon Phillips. Notice how Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein never mentioned that rule. Like, even the David Ornstein tweet that he tweeted, that he said that he hasn't heard of Chelsea changing their game model. That's all he says. He hasn't mentioned there's this weird under 25 rule that people seem to have made up in their heads. He hasn't mentioned anything like that. He's just said change their game model.
That brings me to the next topic, actually. Go ahead, Scott. Finish up what you were going to say.
No, so like Danish is saying, like, it's like Simon Phillips, and I think Nizar's mentioned it. That's it.
Yeah.
And funny enough, it's then Simon Phillips saying that they've changed the under 25 rule has been abolished. How about it never existed in the first place? And you man were just hoping it did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The people were saying that because they got angry because we didn't sign Maddison. What sense would it have made to have both Maddison and Nkuku? Where would Maddison have played? Say Nkuku didn't get injured.
Can I just say, is this the same Madison? Is this the same Madison, by the way, who is consistently? Sorry, is this the same Madison this season who is consistently not injured, not turning up in big moments for Spurs?
Yeah, but I've never rated Maddison anyway. But this is the same. Like, say Nkuku didn't get injured, you'd have both Nkuku and Maddison. Where would they both have played? You're going to play Maddison on the wing, or Nkuku on the wing? Wouldn't have made sense.
And Nkuku's a fraud anyway. We don't even know if he exists or not. Like, does this guy exist?
Okay, I'm not trying to make jokes. I'm actually trying to like speak logic.
No, but I'm actually being okay. But if I think the thing is, and I'll say this point. Obviously, because we're buying the best like up and coming talent, anyone that's 25 years old, right, and above, it's not going to be the best up and coming talent. At that point, you got to have, at least in footballing terms, you got to be reaching your peak, or already at some level already there. So it kind of makes sense why that 25-year-old trade barrier, at least for some, when people are looking at it, were like, that must be where the barrier is, because after that,
That's not true, Ahmed, because if Tony hadn't got, being stupid and got caught.
No, but Prime, again. The reason I don't think I'm not disagreeing with you here. I think the reason why these people thought that, is because you're getting the best in class. Usually, people would say the limit is what, 24? You would say maybe 25 at the very best of what we would call up and coming talent. Would you agree with me, Prime? Necessarily?
Well, no, that's not true, because if we were trying to get the best like young talent, sure, but if Tony, because we were looking at Tony, we've been linked with for so long.
No, but again, this is before we were looking at Tony Prime. Remember, I'm talking about this in that summer window. No, we're not looking at Tony. Remember,
Talking about last summer.
Yes, I'm talking about last summer, not this January window and like afterwards when we were looking at Tony, right? I'm saying if you look at that summer window, other than Disasi, obviously who's 25, everyone else that we got was the best in up and coming talent, arguably speaking, right? And if again, when people say the best in arguably up and coming talent, usually the limit is 24 years old, right? Because then afterwards you're like, these guys should be ready, should be giving me stuff, and should be already at its peak or somewhat. Would you not agree with me in that aspect?
Yeah, young talent, but it doesn't mean there's a strict rule of anyone over 25 we cannot buy.
Also,
no. I'm not saying that.
Sorry, Ahmed. If someone says to me best up and coming talent, my age limit would be 22. Anyone above 22 is not young, not the best young up and coming talent. That's why I don't consider the likes of. That's why I didn't consider Mount young in footballing terms, and why I don't consider Gallagher young. Why I don't really consider Mudryk young. They're not young.
I would say Mudryk is very inexperienced though, because he didn't.
Yes, but that's a different conversation. But some of them are inexperienced like Mudryk, but he's not young. He's not a young player. He was 23. Next season he will turn 24. Like he's not young.
The young age is like 19 to like 22.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'd say 22 is at that point where you go past being a prospect and a good like young up and comer. Once you hit 23, 24, that's when I expect to see you start to show what you are as a footballer in terms of start to round out yourself a little bit. Not obviously your peak, but start to round yourself out. Obviously, for certain positions, it's slightly different. Like for defenders and goalkeepers, that is young. For example, like Petrovic, I think is 23, 24. He's young, but he's a goalkeeper. So he's obviously going to have more longevity.
Scott, what's the young player of the year, by the way? What age limit is that?
21, I think.
21, 22, yeah. Like after that, you're not young. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been just a coincidence that at the time of us looking for certain positions, the best young talent or the best talent wasn't someone who was over the age of 25, and journals were exploiting it. So I never really wanted to believe that rule, but nothing really showed me otherwise. So time will tell. We'll see what happens this summer. I don't expect Chelsea to have a huge summer window. There are some transfer rumors that have been starting to come up that I will be bringing up to discussion. I don't know where we're going to get the funds from, to be honest.
Bro,
I know we're going to get some funds.
I
know we're going to have funds, but I just don't know how much you're willing to spend.
Again, Marshall, I think, I kind of disagree with that. I think the funds will always be there. I just think how many positions you need is going to be the first question you got to ask yourself, and how much of that can be filled with what you already have, and how much of that is going to be, we need to spend it on, and like, can you get those good bargain ones that people are not seeing yet?
Yeah. Let's see. Time will tell. Speaking of the next summer, right? We need to talk about a manager. But before we do, ladies and gents, almost over 100 of you here between Twitter and YouTube. Smash up the likes, like the tweet, retweet, do your part to help Casually FC grow as a channel and as a community. Thank you. Let's go ahead on to the next topic. Ladies and gents, this is what you all came for. Let's talk about Pochettino and how he's inevitably going to get sacked now. The signs are there. Let's go ahead and discuss it. So, first tweet I have here is many Chelsea players accept they have frozen under pressure and struggle to adapt to the expectation of being at one of the biggest clubs in the Premier League. We go on. Marco Corella says the squad remained behind under fire manager Mauricio Pochettino. And you could tell that by the performances on the pitch. These players are not down their tools. They seem to still play and react to the manager's tactics. But let's continue. Mauricio Pochettino is well regarded by most of the dressing room, with players keen for some much-needed stability after 2 years of constant change and disruption at Chelsea. We go on, more in Nazar Cancella here. Mauricio Pochettino retains the support of the vast majority of Chelsea players. The young squad appreciate that Pochettino has shielded them from criticism and worked to foster team spirit in a group of new players from different countries. Then Simon Phillips retweeting on the Nazar Cancella report here. There is reportedly a feeling among some at Chelsea that Mauricio Pochettino has been too soft on some of its inconsistent players and that a tougher approach is needed. Then Fraser Fletcher here says, some are saying business as usual. Chelsea, however, I'm still told Mauricio Pochettino is at risk of being fired at the end of the season, and that has not changed. I think we have another tweet here as well. Exclusive sources say they believe Mauricio Pochettino is a dead man walking, despite some wanting him to stay. Pressure is reaching a boiling point. CFC are aware Ruben Amorim is available for conversations. We continue on. Todd Boehly, Baghdad Bali attended the Carabao Cup final loss to Liverpool in February and were at the club function following the match at Wembley. That now appears to be the last occasion they exchange words with Mauricio Pochettino. And this is in response to the Simon Johnson quote here. Chelsea head coach Mauricio Pochettino today admitted he has not spoken to the club's owners for 2 months. That's a big sign to me. Well, let's continue. Pochettino will see his role as head coach reviewed by Chelsea at the end of the season. Chelsea still has a shot of qualifying for some form of European competition, which is believed to be one of the club's objectives following Mauricio Pochettino's appointment, according to Bobby Vincent. Nazar Cancella again, reporting influential board members also believe Mauricio Pochettino deserves to remain in charge going into next season, with recognition he has been working within a tough set of circumstances. McGrath here now says that Mauricio Pochettino is ready to open talks over which players Chelsea should retain next season, with players and staff fighting for futures in the final part of the Premier League campaign. And then this is a little bit of a contradiction to the Simon Johnson report here, saying that Pochettino has said that everyone at the club should be under review, not just him. And this came out as the embargo part of the match. Was it a post-match interview? Or was it a pre-match conference?
I think it was a pre-match.
Yeah, the pre-match conference, possibly.
Pre-match.
Yeah. That right there is kind of a damning statement. That I think he said something along the lines that it shouldn't just be me that's being reviewed. I think everyone should be reviewed as what I think is what's best for the club and all this stuff. He tried to, twist it into a more approachable, statement. But at the same time, what you're essentially saying is that everyone should be taking blame and assessed, not just me, which kind of tells me he's kind of butting heads now with the recruitment team and so on and so forth. Boehly and Igbali have not seen him or spoken to him since 2 months ago, which is a big telltale sign as well to me that things are not going well. I think the writing is on the wall.
I mean, he's not necessarily wrong about other people having blame, but he thinks by doing this, he can get away and keep his job. Mm-hmm. He thinks by doing
it's a we, not I.
The blame off of him.
Yeah,
it's a we, not I.
On the others, and it makes people think that he's been giving bad working conditions to work under, when in reality, everyone else would not be under this massive scrutiny if Poch had done his job properly. If he had coached us properly, and we were higher in the table, and we were actually winning games, and we were looking good tactically and structurally, no one would be looking at a magnifying glass at Boehly or Orban Stanley or Stewart or anyone, because we would be doing our jobs on the pitch. So it all stems from Poch. But ultimately, it stems from the owners and the board and the scouts for hiring Poch. So in a way, he's right, but he's wrong.
Mm-hmm. This comment from Vic. Tuchel was fired for not having shared a vision with the owners. Enrique Nagelsmann also didn't have that vision. Pochettino did. They'll not fire Poch if the vision remains in place, in my honest opinion. Here's the thing, though, Vic. I think
he's getting sad.
Pochettino took this job knowing very well what he was getting into, but I think he bit off more than he can chew. And he's only realizing it now, and he's trying to find excuses to to excuse his performances. Because listen, at the end of the day, I understand that Poch doesn't take full blame in the situation. I know the recruitment has, to a certain extent, blame for hiring him or putting him on a short list or recognizing him as the right manager to take this project forward. But at the same time, he doesn't help his case when he makes decisions on the pitch that are very questionable, tactical
Also,
as well as with the lineup.
Also, this comment from Vic is wrong. Tuchel was fired because he wasn't willing to cooperate with the owners, as well as our form during that time wasn't
I was
good.
going to say, Tuchel's sacked for a multitude of things.
And
Enrique
Tuchel fell out.
we don't care about your agenda. I'm trying to talk.
No, I'm actually being serious, bro.
There's
Tuchel
actually
also
no
kind of
agenda.
fell out. Like Tuchel actually kind of fell out with like the players too. Remember? There was that big rumored meeting.
Okay,
as
cool.
well.
I just didn't want to hear listen to you waffle, but that's actually true.
That's
Enrique wanted to keep some of the players in this squad, like Ziyech and Pulisic. And now Guzman, we don't know why he rejected us. However, it seems like the board or who were in charge of the recruitment process for the new manager didn't want Nagelsmann. It was Vel that wanted Nagelsmann, which is very telling because when we didn't get Nagelsmann, Vel eventually ended up leaving. So that's correcting what you said there.
I just wanted to also add, I think, is he gonna get sacked or not? Of course, there's some aspects where people might be like, yes, he probably will be sacked. If some of the comments like, oh, the owners are not spoken to him and everything like that. But again, the issue for me is, these guys are a bit PR sensitive, innit? If we're being honest, boys. And I think for me, it's gonna be interesting to see if he doesn't get Europe, which is currently a lot more likely than it is unlikely, right? Which is all right. I'm just waiting for it to not be possible via points. Once that happens, then it's essentially over. Then we'll see what happens, in my opinion. And also, I think the issue that you're gonna have is also, do these guys trust an Amorim, for example, to come into the club and do something? Do these guys trust what's it called? What's his name? Who's another guy that they've been actively looking at that I'm mistaken?
Zerbi, Amorim, they were looking at Schlopp last season.
Yeah, they were looking at Thomas Frank as well. Do these guys really truly believe that the guys they're about to bring in are going to be better than Poch? That's another question you have to ask as well. And I don't know, is the honest truth, bro. And when you're hearing stuff like 2 board members, no matter what happens, will consistently back Poch, I mean, it's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Well, they can do it of the day. Like, I'm sorry, you have to show some backbone. You can't have this speak the way he's spoken and speak about those above him, and then he keeps his job. I'm sorry, you can't. Like, have some backbone. Like, show some spine. Like, I'm sorry, like, forget everything. Forget league position, forget all that vision bullshit. Like, forget all of that. After these comments, like, he cannot stay. You cannot keep him. Like, that just shows that you have no power and you have no authority. You're letting him undermine you.
I think it's also, if we're gonna go based off of history and how things have ever gone for anyone that's ever scrutinized the ownership or the model, it doesn't usually end up well. Most people since this ownership have been fired or lost their position since criticizing the ownership. It's very dictatorial.
I want to add something just before
Marshall, can you do me a favor? Can you bring up Vic's latest comment?
I want to bring something.
You know just before you go, Matt Ahmed, do you know what jokes about this? Especially when last season we weren't doing well under Graham Potter. That was his boy. When Stanley worked with him for years, and he told him to hit the bricks.
The fuck out of
he won't do the same with Poch.
I want to be.
I was going to say that's someone that he's worked with for years. That's his boy, and he told him to hit bricks.
I just want to be honest, and I'm gonna say this right, if you're Chelsea, do you take Thomas Frank over Pochettino? And this is just me being honest.
Why is that the option?
Look, I'm going to each manager step by step, Dorian. Trust me, Yeah, would you take Thomas Frank over Potter? I would probably say no. Would you take then
I would.
De Zerbi over Pochettino? As of
Yes.
currently and what's going on, not really. I would say, like, if you
Yes.
look at him
Yeah.
what's going on right now, Brighton, I would actually say no. Amorim, I'm not too
Yeah.
sure. That's one where I'm like, probably you could probably make a strong argument to say
Huh?
you can bring in Amorim, and then like
I'm not sure.
watch. No. What I mean by that is that in their heads, if they're thinking about experience and everything, you can at least make it out like Amorim. He's got all the stuff. You can at least have the argument to swap him. The only other guy that I can think of that's currently available right now that maybe they would give her an option to is Hansi Flick. And even of him, I would say that's an automatic yes. Actually, he's one where I'll be like automatic yes. I've seen guys. Someone say Thiago Motta. Thiago Motta is going to Juventus. I don't know why people keep on saying Mr. Motta. Mr. Motta is on his way to Turin to cook with the black and white old lady.
My bad. I didn't mean to press that.
And listen, I'm sorry to tell you, bro, they will not accept Tuchel. Yeah, when they give, you know what? Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like me. Don't like to bring this up, but bro, they gave Tuchel something, yeah, which has not been given to many a manager. Only a few managers actually get given it, you know. And this is me speaking up here with extreme hindsight. They gave this guy the golden ticket, and he rejected it, threw it back in their face, and was not even talking to these guys. This is and that is one thing where I'm like, yeah, that he kind of took the piss of that one. And you have honestly, no, you like.
No, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at some. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at some of the copium that people are using in the chat just to hope.
No, but like honestly, the stuff with Tuchel, yeah. When you think about it, it's kind of nasty business from himself, Mr. Osama bin Taliban. Like, I'm gonna ask this question to everyone on the panel right now, yeah. You are given the golden ticket. They are telling you, guys, sign. Listen, we need your help. Obviously, we can't bring in anyone right now immediately. We're going to give you the decision making. Who do you want? Who do you want? We'll go out there and get him for you. Who do you want? And what did he say? I just want a coach. That's all he said. That's crazy, bro.
I think for a different perspective, I actually think for this sport, that's a rare bit of self-awareness.
I disagree, bro. Because the reason why I would disagree with that, because you know the situation that's happening with the club right now. They've literally just, coming to the club. All of the guys have literally left. They actually need a helping hand.
So what is it then? Is it a golden ticket or is it a formality?
You see, I think I would argue it's a bit of both. A golden ticket in the sense that you, as the manager now, might be able to pick some talent that you believe can help the team. You already don't believe in these attackers. You could actually have gotten yourself one or two attackers in that window, and you could have gotten yourself maybe a centre back cover because you just lost two of your top centre backs in Christensen and Rudiger too.
Didn't he say he was happy with what he had though?
And then yes, he said he was happy with what happened 2 weeks ago. I've got the same players. That's what he said. He said that by the way in 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks later after making that comment. That's why. That's why for me, I never I will never when it comes to Tuchel, I literally refuse to give that guy any sympathy because he had a chance and he decided to bottle it. I don't care when people say he didn't reply. People think replying to WhatsApp text is going to get you kicked out of the board. That's ridiculous, bro. You know what I'm saying to you? Not everything that's like literally written, means that you gotta get removed from the club. If he'd been doing his job as coaching, he would have still stayed on. The problem was he decided to not bring in new blood, and and do what he needed to do. That's all it was. And you know what's crazy? Danzo's correct. Look at Danzo's comment, bro.
The copium
Look at Danzo, by the way.
unbelievable.
Look at Danzo, by the way. Look at Danzo's correct. Look, he went to Bayern, and according to the director there, he wants players. He wants players. Apparently, he's asking for more players.
He was pissed when they didn't get Paulinho.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. So you know what I mean. For me, that's the problem. You know, at Chelsea, when they were saying to you, you can pick the players for all you want. Yes, it's helping us out also a little bit because you haven't got a director in yet to help you out too. But listen, for a short-term period, for the next season, while we're rejigging everything, you get to choose a few players to help you, expand the squad. What did he say? No. And guess what happened? 6 weeks later, 2 weeks later, he had a fight with the squad, and you know what happened next. And you're asking him to come back to this club, yeah, and this club to come back calling to him after they already did it once.
He may not have been himself before. You know, he went to places afterwards, and
That's
he just
crazy.
may not have been himself.
Again, everything that I've spoken about from Chris's mouth, it does not speak for the panel, and it is also alleged. It is. I would like to repeat alleged.
That's what's apparently.
That's also to keep Marshall alleged, and to keep us all safe. That's what
Listen, I'm going to let you speak because what you're saying isn't necessarily wrong, but at the same time, there was plenty of things that he was doing right that the ownership was doing wrong. That I feel like it's unfair on Tuchel. Like, it's unfair to put everything.
I'll be completely honest. The season that he got sacked, there was like nothing he was doing right. I'll be completely honest.
I think
like,
he
and I like Tuchel. I like Tuchel, and I think the way that they sacked him was wrong. And the time they sacked him, if you wanted to sack him, you should have done it the moment you came in. And yeah, I think Tuchel definitely, like, him coming back would be an upgrade on what we have. I don't want him to come back for different reasons.
But the thing is, though, even the season
like,
before
that season, the season before he did well. But I'm saying that season he got sacked.
No. That's not what I'm even trying to say. Like, the season before that, I think what the ownership did wrong is that they didn't set this structure before they hired him.
Oh yeah, no facts.
And the season before that, we already knew his talent ID is shit. He brought in a Saul over Chouameni. Right?
No,
I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right?
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
That's
true.
That is true, right? And then he said he wanted a striker, but he settled for Romelu Lukaku. He said he was happy with Romelu Lukaku.
He said he didn't need a midfielder because he had all these midfielders, and then the moment Kante got injured, said that we needed a midfielder. Like Conor Gallagher.
Don't forget. He compared Gallagher to Conte in terms of his work rate.
Yep.
I mean,
the season before is a bit different because it's like obviously the ownership group weren't there. The thing I will say about the ownership group where I give them a little bit of leeway is when it comes to like the structure. I don't think they planned, and actually, I don't know if I give them leeway for this because you probably should have.
You should have
like planned for every eventuality. But
this man Bully actually played Football Manager with us, you know.
I don't think it helped Marina and Czech both leaving because I think they were hoping for one or both of those guys to stay, and the fact they both left, I think, kind of made them panic a bit. But then I think that they reacted poorly because I think all they did was try to go for Edwards. That didn't work because he didn't want another job. Because I think that was the first. I think was that when he left, or I think that was like he'd only been out of the game for like a year at that point.
I think he was mid-sabbatical. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he either left that summer or that was a year after he left. And so, that didn't work. And then they didn't really do anything after that. They only really had like a priority. Also, Sterling was one of the people that Tuchel wanted. Too. He also wanted Aubameyang, another one. Yep.
Yeah, Aubameyang could have worked out if he actually got to play more games.
He wanted Matthias de Ligt.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, and that's the thing. And I think, as I said, I think the problem with Tuchel was when they sacked him rather than the fact they sacked him. You can't give him a window. Give him, 4 games into the season, then sack him. That's just kind of ludicrous. Or it wasn't 4, it was like 7 or whatever it was.
It's like 6 Premier League, 7 Premier League games.
Yeah, something like that. Again, something like that. Yeah. You can't do that.
And again, I understand the form wasn't there, and he like Klopp was very, very stubborn towards the end about changing his, I don't know if you want to say the system, but like the wing back formation, because the wing back formation wasn't working at the time. Like it had been found out. That was damning as well. But it's one of those, like, he had earned himself the time to see if he could get out of that rut, because that's the first. Well, that was that was the end of that really bad rut that continued from last season, because we knew he was falling out with players. Yes, when it comes to man management, I'll give you that every day. He was not a good man manager. He fell out with players and all this and that. You could make the argument that those players needed to go anyways, and then you can make the same argument that once he left, players fell out with the next manager because they liked Tuchel. So it's very a double-edged sword in my opinion. I think.
Whoa! Time out. Repeat that second quote with an explanation, please, because that actually does not make sense. By the way, That quote you
that
just said,
when Tuchel left, the players that like Tuchel fell out with the next manager.
okay,
Tuchel
explain
was
that to me.
liked.
Just because Tuchel was that doesn't mean the next manager is going to be not liked because Tuchel just got sacked. That's
Kovacic.
I can
Kovacic is a prime example.
I don't think.
Once Tuchel left, Kovacic was already out the door.
I don't
You
think.
can make the
I don't
same
think that
argument
was.
with Mason Mount.
I don't think that was
Havertz.
Potter. Hang on. I don't think that was him not liking Potter. I think that was just like, I'm done with this chaos club. Get me out.
But
I think that was more a
I
club.
think that's what he meant,
it was
really.
Tuchel though. Like I think it
No,
was
so
Tuchel.
wait.
No, but-
so basically, you're telling me, let's say Tuchel left the club amicably, he would still leave. Is that what you're saying to me, Marshall?
I think so. I think
So
so.
you're
There would have
saying-
been players that would have
so
wanted to
basically-
leave without
so-
without Tuchel being there.
So basically, you're just saying our club was just Tuchel FC. So
No. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Now you're misquoting me. I said some. There were some players that fell out with the next manager. Some meaning not all of them. A part of the player, a part of the group. Okay, that's what I meant. Because obviously,
No.
there's going to be players in
I
that
don't
team
think
that
Marshall's
wanted to play
wrong
with
with that.
Sterling. Hey, listen, Sterling is one of them. Sterling is one of them.
He even
Sterling
said
came
it,
in here
like,
to play with.
Yeah, but he
Well,
joined the
what
club though. That's a bit different.
Yeah, he joined Tuchel. He thought Tuchel was going to be there, and Tuchel was out the door after like 6 Premier League games. He
You
couldn't
can say,
understand what's
you can
going
say
on.
the same thing
But
with
Marshall, can I?
Aubameyang. Yeah, go ahead.
See, the problem with Tuchel is also, okay, here's a similarity, okay? Klopp. Why I'm saying Klopp is because we've learned since Michael Edwards has come in, his talent ID has been dog shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Before after he left, Michael Edwards has been utter dog fucking shit.
But no one wants
But
to
the
talk
thing
about that
is-
with Klopp. But yeah, go on.
No, they are talking about it now. But the thing is, Klopp has done something in the league. Right?
Premier League, yeah.
Even with the players he had, he's gone to the Champions League final 3 times.
Mhm.
Right? That's the thing that Tuchel doesn't have. I'm sorry, last season he won on the last day thanks to fucking Musiala. He
That's
crashed
because
out
the
of all
players
the
down
clubs.
tools.
No, I'm talking about for Bayern.
Oh, I
said
thought you meant
Musiala.
Chelsea. Okay, never mind.
No, I said Musiala last year. He barely won that league. And he got out of all the clubs that Nagelsmann was in. And at that point, Nagelsmann had only lost 2 games the entire FN season. But because Tuchel was a cup manager, they brought in Tuchel. And then he bounced out of every cup all at once. All 4. All 4 that they were in, gone.
It happened in the space of 2 weeks, by the way, as well. That happened in the space of 2 weeks, by the way.
Yes, it's 2
He
weeks.
got-
Like basically Liverpool. Basically what
Yeah.
happened to Liverpool. That's exactly what happened this season.
Well, this actually segues me into the next topic I wanted to
I wanted to
discuss.
finish it off with- I was
Wait. No. Hold on. Trust me. Because I wanted to talk about Tuchel. Okay, let me just make this banner real quick. Sorry. Apparently, there's been a petition from Bayern fans that are desperately trying to keep Thomas Tuchel at the club. A petition has reached over 10,000 signatures. Tuchel is a serious contender for the Manchester United club. Now, personally, I would hate to see him come back to the Premier League and just not be at Chelsea. It's just I hate it. But I don't know. United, it's just fuck that. But anyways, now there's been a bit of I guess, infighting within the Bayern fan base over Tuchel. And now that makes me question more so like, I don't know. Has he been misunderstood? Has he been over criticized at Bayern?
No, I'll tell you what.
Because-
I'll tell you what the reason.
Okay, you go on for that. Sorry.
The reason there's been a change in perspective is because they're being linked to the likes of Ralph Rangnick to replace this guy on a permanent basis. That is nowhere near good enough for what they want to be doing.
The reason why, Marshall, also, is that they just beat Arsenal to go into the semi-finals. So you know what fans are going to be there. They're going to be giddy. But when they lose to Real Madrid, as is more than likely going to happen, you know what I mean? I feel like there's no doubt in my mind that's going to happen.
I agree with that.
We're going to be seeing what these signatures really mean. That's what I'm going to say. And from what we know, at least from Bayern, the rumor going around is they want an interim manager. That's why they're bringing in Rangnick. And because he also has a good talent and a good eye for talent. So they can have him in for 1 year and then they can bring in Klopp the next year after. That's apparently the alleged rumor that's been going around. Too.
Here's
And
the
Rangnick
thing
is
that-
good at diagnosing the club too, like he did with Man United, where he's like, it's a cancer. You need to get the 12 players. So he's good.
Like United, though, it depends if Bayern listen to him.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't necessarily think that Ralf Rangnick is the next guy, but it's also the situation at Bayern doesn't seem anywhere near the situation that was happening at Chelsea towards the end. And I mentioned Chelsea last season before because after we got knocked out of the Champions League from Real Madrid, you guys remember, we went on a very steep decline. And we almost dropped out of top 4 because the players just were not motivated anymore. They weren't playing for the manager. I don't know what was going on, and Tuchel just could not get them to go. That was supposedly what was going on at Bayern, but now we have Bayern beating, what was it? Union Berlin 5-0. That doesn't seem like a team that just down tools for Tuchel now all of a sudden.
Marshall, can I ask you a question? I'm going to reply to you easily with a question. Do you know what Union Berlin is currently in the table?
They struggled to beat Union Berlin earlier in the season.
But Marshall, what are Union Berlin in the table?
I don't think they're relegation, are they? Let me check.
Do you know that Fofana left Union Berlin, by the way?
He's in 14th. They're in 14th position.
Do you know why
18.
Yeah, out of 18.
Yeah. Do you know what? Do you know why that Fofana got left Union Berlin? Because
Well, yeah, the club is in shambles.
Yes, and again, for me, fundamentally speaking, when you're trying to get yourself ready for a UCL game, which is for your own personal pride, you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for Tuchel. Do you think they're trying to win the UCL for Tuchel, or they're doing it for themselves?
What reason do they have to beat Union Berlin 5-1 in the league that's already
It's the flipping Bundesliga, bro. I don't know what you're expecting. They literally, it's that easy to score 5 goals. I'm pretty sure that at least a good quarter, if not a majority of them, came from Kane, who's trying to beat the record by Lewandowski and Gerd Müller.
I'd imagine so. Yeah.
I love how you just easily want to dismiss the Bundesliga as like, oh, it's easy to score that high. Like, come on now.
Yes,
like, I
it
understand.
is. No,
I understand. No, hold on. Stop, guys. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I understand that Bundesliga isn't necessarily the most defensively sound league. I understand that it's more of an attacking league. But at the same time, let's also not dismiss that it was 5-1. 5-1 doesn't happen every day in Bundesliga. It doesn't happen every match fixture. Like, you're pretending it's like 5-1, 6-1, 8-2.
Wait, guys. Let me do it. So I'm sorry, guys. Okay, Leverkusen on April 14th had a 5-0 against Werder Bremen, okay? The week, and Mainz beat Hoffenheim 4-1 April 13th. The week before that, you had a 4-0 with Mainz beating Darmstadt on April 6th. You had Leipzig beating 4-1 against Freiburg. So these 4 ridiculous scores are very prominent. I've just named you the past 3 weeks.
Just going to point something out. There are 4 teams in the Bundesliga that have scored 70 plus goals.
Yeah.
Yes. And remember, Harry Kane currently is on 30 something goals. If I'm not mistaken. If not, he's already almost at 40 goals. He's on 30.
All comps, he's over 40.
Yes, all comps is over 40.
Yeah, I know he's not beating Thingy's record.
Yeah, so for me, when it comes down to it, it's not that hard, bro, to score in that league if you're a very good player.
I genuinely hate how dismissive you're being about scoring a 5-1. You're making it seem so freaking easy.
You're coming from it, Marshall. You're coming from it, from a perspective, of watching the Premier League, where even there we do sometimes have a few crazy scores every now and then in a week.
I'm not coming from a perspective of coming from the Premier League. I'm coming from the fact that scoring 5 goals in one game alone is not easy.
Marshall. Yes, it is. For Bayern, it is.
Oh,
but that's what I mean.
Bayern regularly trounced the bottom teams.
I need to add context to this. Because I feel like I haven't added enough context. Hold on. In the first leg of this, in the first leg of Union Berlin, Bayern struggled to beat them at home 1-0. Now when they go away 5-1, oh, this is easy. This is everything. You could do this in the Bundesliga. Apparently, this is the same Bayern team that downed tools for Tuchel, that he fell out with Tuchel. This is what I mean. It's just the logic doesn't make any sense to me. The league is done. They have nothing to play for in the league.
Wait, Marshall. Again, this is where you are incorrect when you say they don't have anything to play for. Again, players don't, just because they don't win the title doesn't mean they don't have careers that they have in mind. Do players not have careers to play for? You know, maybe they're thinking, let me make sure I look good for the new manager. Maybe they're thinking, I want to transfer out. Let me show some good comps. Let me show.
What players are you referring to?
That could be for a number of players at the club. Musiala, he's not signing yet anytime soon, apparently at Bayern Munich, so he may be off in a year or two. You're looking at guys like Sane, who potentially may want to leave the club coming soon. Kane is just doing it for his record thing. We already know that. Goretzka is getting pushed out. Kimmich, we already know, might be leaving the club quite soon. De Ligt might be on his way out too. There's so many players right here.
And Kimmich is back to Napoli, apparently.
Yeah. So there are so many players whose futures currently are buying that up in the air that they of course going to be playing for their own careers. And I want to add this, Marshall. Okay. Sorry, I want to add this here. I've got two more points to add. The point that you made about the 5-1 and the 1-0 loss, the 1-0 one, I think you said, right? At one point in time, Tuchel was the manager. There was nothing that was going to happen to him to get sacked, and he was having in real battles with the players at that time. The beating them 5-1 is happening at a time when their futures are up in the air and they know Mr. Tuchel is gone. That's what it is. And finally, I'm going to add one more point. I don't expect to see 5-1s in the Italian league because I understand the Italian philosophy is very much based on defensive football, right? In the Premier League, I understand that, you know, it's a very competitive league, so I'm not expecting a high goal scoring rate happening there. You can make similar comments about the Spanish league where it's possession-based football, and they're also looking to unlock the other team, and it can happen vice versa over there too. French league, it's a bit more of different tactics and other stuff, right? But in the German league, I know what I'm coming to see. I'm coming to see attacking football. I'm going to be expecting to see high scoring games in there. That's their philosophy, bro.
Perry, you were going to say something?
Yeah, it's there is a bit of pride, Marshall, because 2 game weeks ago, they were tied with Stuttgart for second place. They were equal on points. It's just Stuttgart lost their game and then drew the next game, and that's why Bayern are only 5 points ahead, right? And if you imagine a headline of Bayern Munich being third place to Leverkusen, who've never won the league, and Stuttgart at second place. That would be catastrophic for Bayern's fan base. Every player in there, no matter who they are, would be catastrophic for them. So they have to at least come in second for just any standard for Bayern Munich, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Here's the thing. I think, to me, Tuchel's like an A- manager, right? An A+ to me is your Pep, your Ancelotti, and I would say Simeone, right? Right now, it feels like Tuchel's on an A-, and his career might slowly be dwindling down, right? He was at an A earlier with us, I would say, right? Because A+ to me is still Pep Guardiola, but now he's not doing the same, right? He's lost the league by a lot. I get that they're unbeaten, but if he doesn't perform in the Champions League, which is the only thing saving him this season, then what has he done with the Bayern squad, right? In a sense, because he didn't win any domestic last season in terms of cups either, right? He couldn't pair the league with anything either. That's the problem, right? And he is not doing the same either this season. Who's scoring 40 goals in a season, right?
Marshall, I want to add a point. I want to add one point to you, Marshall. You know, I think at times, yeah, you know, you always see, you know, I understand it's man management and other stuff like that, but like, I feel like, in my personal opinion, he can obviously explain himself afterwards, right, and disagree with me. You really underestimate, just how much man management, is key in football. We have a manager who's at Real Madrid, who's man management because he has such elite man management skills. He doesn't even need to add that much in terms of tactics to allow his players to flourish. The reason why people, you know, when people talk about Mourinho, even though yes, they talk about his tactics and that he's the special one, if you talk about the real reason why his players love him, the players fight for him, is because of the man management, bro. Listen, if you talk about Chelsea, if you talk about Porto, you know, even at Inter, they will tell you this guy was fighting. They were ready to fight for wars, go to war with him, go to battle for him. You know what I mean? That is how key man management is as a manager for you. I feel like you can have average tactics and little things here and there, but if you don't have the key thing, which is the interaction between player and manager, it doesn't work out for you, bro. It will never help you, bro. This is why. Listen, I can cuss out Arteta all I like. I understand that he may not be able to handle older players, but the one thing I can give him, his man management of his current squad. The reason why it's worked. It's because he understands those players, they understand him, and they're willing to fight for him, bro.
Because that helped him so much against Bayern in the Champions League, right?
It's helping currently in the Premier League, bro. It's whether we like it or not, it's helped.
No, but now you have two philosophies going up against each other in football match in a competition. Yet one won and the other one didn't.
Yes, but the reason why he didn't win against Bayern is not because of the man management. The reason why he lost is because his players weren't clinical enough. That's what it was.
And it also comes down to experience as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I get its experience, but again, it's this argument of like earlier in the season, I was told the player's down tools, he's lost the locker room, all this and that. Yet I see these players still performing well. Yes, I understand they have their own careers to look after and all this and that, but listen, Joshua Kimmich can have one. Joshua Kimmich can have one bad season. Doesn't mean he's not going to get a link to Real Madrid or Man City. It's Joshua Kimmich. Musiala is the same thing. He's one of the best young talents in the world. Just because he has one off season doesn't mean all of a sudden he's not the best talent in the world. Like he's John Musiala. To me, it's just I don't think this scenario with Bayern is the same as Chelsea, and I feel like you, Ahmed, and a bunch of other people in the community treat it like it is, and it's not. And I just looked at the points right now. If Bayern win the rest of their games, they're 1 point off of matching their points total for the treble-winning team that Hansi Flick had.
All right, Marshall.
So is that necessarily bad on Tuchel?
Let's put that into context, Marshall. Let's put that into context of the Bayern treble-winning season. Who was next in line? In that season, who was the guys that were competing against them? It was Borussia Dortmund, and that Borussia Dortmund side was not as competitive as the side they're facing. But whether you want to admit or not, Marshall, the squad that you had, yes, you can discuss how bad the squad was and everything like that.
Are you making an argument right now that Tuchel's current squad is better than that treble-winning squad?
We can argue that the squad that he has now, there's been issues with it, and that can obviously goes to the top, right? Whether it be that's what I've said. Right. See, I'm not gonna always say that Tuchel's just shit.
I'm just interested where you're going with this. Go ahead.
Yeah. I can understand that obviously the team that he had maybe wasn't as greatly as constructed as that squad that he had previously, right? We can both agree on that, right? But the key word is but here. But as I've said previously, he was that side under Nagelsmann wasn't having to compete with a side like Bayern Leverkusen. And so, it's down to the club to help Tuchel out if he believes he can't get the best out of them. But they believe that he's not getting the best out of the players. So what are we to say to that, Marshall? And I think for me, again, this comment that you make about the idea that it's Kimmich, no, everyone's going to want Kimmich or everything like that. That may be true. But at the end of the day, these guys, again, are playing for their own careers. They want to make sure they have good careers. What just because I'm not, just because me and the manager are full on doesn't mean I don't want to look out for myself. Now I know that he's gone. I'm playing for the next new manager to come up to see how good I am, and also I'm going for a transfer and trying to show the club that maybe has spoken to my agent to look how good I am. That's true, bro.
That argument just doesn't sit well with me because
it does,
right now. No, it doesn't.
Bro. That's reality, though.
No, stop. It doesn't sit well with me for two reasons. Because currently, there are two examples we can point out to that isn't the case. Tuchel, after he got eliminated against Real Madrid, where the players really did down tools. We weren't winning games. We were drawing games. We were losing games. This is not happening with Bayern.
I didn't compare with Chelsea.
And hold on.
I'm not comparing with Chelsea.
But I'm just saying that's Tuchel. For my opinion, Tuchel under Chelsea is when the player's down tools. Tuchel under Bayern, I don't see them downing tools. I don't think he's lost a locker room. Now we look at Erik ten Hag and Manchester United. I think that team is down tools. That team wants Erik ten Hag out.
Yes, but
and they have careers to play
time out,
for.
Marshall. But time out, Marshall. The problem is, the difference between the situation at United and Bayern is that one has already knows that the guy that they want gone, the guy that down tools were already previously is now going, and now they're just playing for a random, maybe possibly a mythical chance of getting into the UCL final, and playing for whoever the new next upper coming manager is, or trying to get transferred out. That's the difference, bro. Right? And I think for me, the issue that I've always had with you, bro, is that when it comes to can you go to Rohan's comment before I come to yours? Because I think Rohan's comment is a problem that I have. The reality is, bro, the era of football has changed. The players that have come up now have changed. The way that we may have been able to speak to guys 2 decades ago is not going to work now. We have to accept it, and as such, we need to adjust and adapt. That's the way of life. The survival of the fittest. You've got to update and adapt yourself. Tuchel can have all the tactics in the world, but if he's not able to handle and speak with these players correctly, he's cooked. It's the same thing with the manager.
But that's where I just think that's where your argument falls apart, because I'm not seeing it at Bayern.
You know what it is, Marshall? Let's get the other 3 guys to speak. You know what? I'll start with Oliver because he's at the bottom. We can just go like this. Go ahead, guys. Who do you think's got it right or wrong? Anyone can go first.
I don't know, man. I think both of you have points there. I think all I'd just like to add probably is when it comes to the Bayern squad, I think Tuchel has lost specific players. It's not the locker room. So it's a bit in the middle of what you two are saying. Ahmed, you're saying that he's lost the dressing room. Marshall, you're saying that he hasn't. I believe there was a report a few months ago, actually, that there was a list of people that are with him and against him. And against him was like Neuer and Muller and Kimmich.
Correct.
And then
Gnabry was as well.
And mind you, Ahmed, some of those players that he just mentioned are players that need to leave the club anyways.
But again, Marshall.
But you've also got, by the way, you've got someone now. You've got Kim Min-jae, who's now looking to uproot and leave, and they just signed him, and he's their best centre back. Tuchel's alienated him for no reason.
No, there are some that I don't get, but it's also Tuchel. Tuchel had the similar issue at Chelsea. Ziyech, you guys can help me. You guys remember better than I do. Ziyech,
what Oliver's saying, what they want to admit or not, isn't that not the exact same copy of what happened at Chelsea? The problem is, the dressing room splits with him. You have either some players who obviously want to be with him, and some players that don't want to be with him. But the problem is, you may not like these players, right?
I just
you
don't
may
think
not
they've
want
down
to.
tools.
No. But yes, but you've just said to me right now, some players did down tools. That is correct. That happened also at Chelsea. But the problem is, and I always say that to you, you have to control the dressing room until you can get to the January window maybe, or a summer window, and you can get your DOF or your ownership to then come in and remove those players who you believe are cancers, right? That's just the way it comes down to, bro. And the problem is, he can't do that.
I just think it's unfair to criticize Tuchel when there's those managers there. No, I mean, okay, hold on. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, no,
I just think it's unfair to completely put all criticism on Tuchel when it's both ends of the spectrum. Yes, Tuchel doesn't have the best man managing skills. That is very known. However, I don't think he's lost his dressing room like people like to say. I don't think he's washed like people like to say. I just said it before.
He's not washed. Anyone that says that he's washed is lying to you, by the way. You know me. I always say tactically brilliant, but he's missing the key part, which is the man management. That is,
bro. You, Ahmed, Mr. Abdi. Oh my. Okay, never mind.
Oliver can back. Wait. Oliver and Chris can back me. Have I never said that about him too? I've always respected him tactically. You can't do that to me. I've respected him washed. I always
yes, you have called him washed multiple times. People, call the police. Get this man arrested for fraudulence right now.
But that's me calling. But you know me.
Oh my days, bro.
Wait. But you know me. That's me. That's like, trolling, right? When I say he's washed. But I've always, if you ask me for honest assessment, my honest assessment has always been tactically he's good. The issue has always been his man management. And again, remember, they're not telling you, Marshall. I told you this before. He's moving like Mourinho light. By the way, he's moving the way he's going down. He's moving like Mourinho light, and for me, the next job he gets, You know, people can see United. I can tell you right now,
Ugh.
he's not happening. If he
That's
goes to
gonna end
United,
so bad.
that
That's gonna end
is the
so
complete.
bad.
That's gonna be the complete United hat trick, by the way. That's gonna be the Mourinho hat trick, by the way. He just hasn't gone back to Chelsea. That's the difference.
Dude, that's why. Listen, actually, you know what, Curry? I wanted your opinion, and Chris, where do you guys fall on what me and Ahmed just basically debated?
No, I just like repeating what I was saying earlier. I think he's become an A- manager. He was an A manager with us when we won the Champions League, but he's slowly dwindling, I feel like, because you're known as the cup manager now. But if you're not performing well in the cups with Bayern Munich, even domestically, then what are you doing? Right? I can forgive him for this season for having a Leverkusen squad that's undefeated. But last season, winning on the final day because of a Musiala goal is still unacceptable for me, personally. So yeah, that's the thing with him. I think he's A-, maybe going to B+, depending on how he continues. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Chris?
I mean, I wouldn't call him washed or nothing like that. I don't think he's nowhere near the washed level. You already see it by Bayern Munich. They're facing Real Madrid in the semi-finals in the Champions League with this Bayern Munich squad, and I think there's a reason why Bayern Munich fans are signing that petition or whatever, a signature thing, whatever it's called. To keep him. I don't think that really matters what you do. That's why I never sign it myself. But yeah, a lot of Bayern fans still want to keep him because there's not many managers out there that have, and he isn't all bad. Yeah, he has his flaws. He's not perfect. Of course, Tuchel's not perfect, but Tuchel's a man who can get results as long as you back it. There's some questionable things playing Eric Dyer at centre back over Kim J. Why is he doing that? I don't know, because Kim J or whatever his name is. Yeah, he's their best centre back, I think. So I don't understand that one. Kimmich is getting old now. He's 30 years old, right? 30 years old. So I understand not starting every game. Goretzka's washed anyway. Goretzka's shit. I don't know who the other CDM is really. They got Harry Kane. They got Musiala. They got a few good players, but not many. There's some serious rebuilding Bayern Munich still needs to do. So
yeah, I think that's where you've got to have the nuance, because not all of this is Tuchel's fault. That Bayern team has been mismanaged for years, and I think everyone could admit that, whether you like Tuchel or not.
Of course, that's the point I always made. That's the point I made to Marshall, though, Amanda. I was saying to him, I get and it's the same point I made when he was you could make that at Chelsea too. I was like, yes, these guys may be against you. Yes, you may not like these players, but at least hold out for that season. Try to do as much as you can, such that when it comes to January or September, you can get to the board, speak with them very loudly and clearly, and get them moved on. But the thing is, bro, he's not even doing it in the first place. He's having a temper tantrum, and then what does he expect to happen? These guys are going to automatically fall out of you that are still existing at the club.
I mean, as well, by the way, Tuchel can still maybe win the Champions League with this mayhem. I mean, no, he can. If they beat Real Madrid, if they beat Real Madrid, who just beat Arsenal, they just beat Arsenal. No, they
delusions of grandeur. That's delusions of grandeur, right there.
No.
Hey,
like,
listen,
if they beat Real Madrid,
he knows
they're in the
how
final.
to give. He knows how to give Ancelotti his run for his money. So, listen, I'm not going to be that shameless and say he's going to win the Champions League. However, we'll see what happens, because my favorite is Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid are going to win it. I think Real Madrid are going to beat them. But you never know.
What's happening if Real Madrid then, Marshall? You got to think, they could actually win it.
Yeah. At that point, yes. I will say that maybe Bayern become the favorite if they beat Real Madrid. But that's going to be tough. And if it's a Bayern PSG final, that's going to be insane.
It will be.
That's going to be insane.
No way Dortmund
the last team that Tuchel, PSG going against the manager that last took him in that position, it's going to be wild.
That's why.
But time will tell. Listen, I would take him back at Chelsea simply because I think he would be able to get the best out of a lot of these players. Yes, he would fall out with some. I don't think it would be many, to be honest. I think because there is a younger team here, I think there is a lot more malleability and a lot more, I guess there's going to be a lot less people that are going to want to fall out with him. There are going to be the occasional Christian Pulisic and such. I agree, but then at that point, it's up to the.
I mean, the thing is, Pulisic was young. Pulisic was young at
Yeah.
the time that he had him.
So, like, you know, it's not like the same thing isn't happening under Poch right now with, like, Maatsen, for example. Maatsen already stating, like, he's ready to move to Dortmund.
I don't think
So on
Maatsen
and
was
so forth.
personal, though. I think that was purely the opportunity that he was given,
But
which
yeah,
was none.
But that was to an extent what happened with Pulisic. Pulisic wasn't getting the chances, and he wanted to leave. He obviously he went about it the wrong way. He said it publicly, and criticized Tuchel for it. But at the same time, that's another scenario that you're going to have with Tuchel. You're not going to please everyone with playing time, and he did have a little bit of a bloated squad. Not as bad as Potter, but. Time will tell. And if he goes to United, I think it's going to be the same. It's going to be worse than Chelsea. I genuinely think it's going to be worse than Chelsea. He might get some results, but there are a lot of players in the United team that need to leave that club.
Marshall, can I ask you a question there, bro?
Sure.
So if you believe that, yeah, and you're saying if he goes back to Chelsea, he's going to fall out of players, right? Do you not think that...
Not nearly as many.
But even... Do you not think that's still a problem, bro? That's still going to be a problem for us if you're not going to move them along, right? Let's say he falls out. Let's say I'm going to give you a hypothetical. Let's say if Tuchel falls out with someone like Caicedo and let's say a starting centre back of your choice, right? Let's say he falls out with Levi Cole, like hypothetically, someone that the club rate and that a lot of fans I would argue rate, right? And let's say our arguments those two, and we'll add one more player, like if you say let's say Gusto, for example. Is the club are not going to move all three of those players, right? They love those players are like regarded highly by the club, and you're falling out of them. So is it eventually it's going to come down to again the players or the manager? Who's that going to come down to?
I think, and
that's the worry mark.
This is gonna sound silly, but I think with this ownership, it's gonna fall on the player. The player will be prioritized to move over the manager. It seems like they backed. As long as there's results, the manager will be backed.
So you truly believe the club, would rather move Enzo and Levi Cole and Gusto over Tuchel if he falls out of them?
If Tuchel is gonna do what Mauricio Pochettino did with Maatsen and let him just rot on the bench, then yeah.
They won't do it.
I'll tell you what, man. I don't know. I don't know if it changes because we now have sporting directors versus when Tuchel was here under Bowley and Clear Lake that we didn't have sporting directors. But if it's the same, then you can assume they would go with the manager because Billy Gilmore wanted to leave and he fell out with Tuchel, and they got rid of him. And they wanted, they kind of wanted to keep him, but eventually they caved.
They don't seem to have an issue getting rid of players.
But the difference is, bro, the difference with all of the examples we give, one's been paid 120 million. You've given another one a 7-year contract. The other one's on a 7-year contract. The difference is Ian Maatsen wasn't willing to sign a contract with you.
Oh yeah, no. If it's a player they bought, that's definitely going to be more on the side of.
That's what I'm saying to you, bro. If Tuchel was to fall out of someone like, let's say, either Enzo Caicedo, a centre back that said like Levi Cole and Gusto. They all bought them. They will give them major contracts. They believe them to be a part of the future. Then what?
And we know this, by the way, because when Enrique told us in his interview process that our wingers are not good enough, they turned him away.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, listen, time will tell.
No, Rohan. By the way, Rohan, let's not get interested. I don't believe the players that you fell out with were good enough to begin with. But the problem is, as a manager, you can't fall out of these guys if you know they're going to be here at least 6 months, if not more, or if not a whole season. That's where the issue begins because you've started a cancer there, bro. As the cancer grows, it's only going to mutate and get worse and toxic. Mm-hmm. That's what's kind of happened at Bayern, bro. He had guys that were already against him. Yes, there were other guys that were with him. But the problem is that side was so big, had a voice, and then they were losing fixtures because maybe 6 out of the 11 players that were starting weren't playing for him. And look what that leads to. And also sometimes, bro, as a manager, you cannot lose the captain. You cannot lose the vice captain either. That kills you too.
Yeah, Neuer and Kimmich were on the list of against him.
And Muller, he had the captain
and Muller. Yeah, that's 3.
You literally had essentially. Listen, it's not even
the 3 most senior players.
But again, those senior players need
that's
to
not
move
even
along.
Again. That's not even captain, bro. Those 3 are legends. They're like Bayern legends, bro. Those 3.
Yeah.
Like he lost essentially 3 Bayern legends.
Yeah, but listen, time will tell. We'll see what happens with Tuchel. And the point of this whole entire segment was to say, Poch is getting sacked, man. It's inevitable. This all came from Poch. This is what Poch does to us, man. But yeah, no. Like Poch coming out with those comments, man. Like he's clapping back. So for me, that's kind of already the early signs of like, hey, we're butting heads with the ownership.
This whole thing with Poch, these comments, it's not as toxic and as extreme as what I'm about to say. This is heavy Conte 2018 vibe. Not as bad, but I'm getting a hint of that.
He's getting frustrated, which I mean,
with
understandably
something
so,
clearly.
But at the same time, it's like that comment of like I shouldn't be the only one being assessed. That's a crazy comment to say. I think you don't just say that.
I said it earlier. It's one of those things. It's like we need to change, not I need to change. Like it's just it's diffusing responsibility onto everybody rather than.
And although I don't think he's wrong, right? I don't think he's necessarily wrong, but not the. I don't think publicly is where you would want to express that.
But it's also just a deflection tactic. Like it's taking the attention so like you're being asked about. I'm assuming the question he was asked in that press conference was, "You're getting reviewed at the end of the season," and then they're asking whatever in terms of that. You need to answer the question in terms of that. They're not asking you about does Win Stanley need to be reviewed. So he's taking the spotlight off himself and moving it and spreading the light out onto other people because he doesn't want the heat.
Nah, not too cool. Poch needs to answer for his crimes end of the season. That's what he needs to answer for.
Listen,
he's on trial.
I know Scott's not here with us. I know a lot of us are not here with us. I'll be honest, bro. Again, I can see a reality which I disagree with personally, where they're like the guys that are left, we're not sure about. Poch will stay another season, and I can see it, bro. Even if he doesn't get Europe, I can see it, bro.
I cannot see it.
And the other thing is,
Wait. Did you just say he stays till the end of the season? Or
no,
he gets
next season.
Next season. And I think also the reality also is.
Hope Ahmed's wrong again.
Look at it again, bro. Look at the amount of sympathy he's not even just getting, not just from like from the media. He gets so much sympathy from the media. Plus, the stuff that gets written for him are essentially just puff pieces, bro. Let's be real.
This reminds me of like Lampard when he used to get sympathy and I hate.
I don't care what the media say. Poch is a media darling because he gave England so many players.
But that's the problem, Scott. Not Scott. Sorry, Oliver. Right. The problem for me, is gonna come down to this, right? And I will say this again. The issue is he has so many relevant excuses that he can give. Nkuku's been out the whole season. My guy Livy has been out the whole season. This guy's been out. Everyone's been out. I've had multiple players out the whole of the season. I've not really had my full squad.
You can say the same case for Ten Hag though, because he's had a lot of injuries too.
And plus, I've not had enough experience. You know what I mean? I really feel like we need more experience in the squad. I need more players. Look at how all of these guys are not doing. Look how he can already build him a strong case for him to stay next season, arguably speaking, right?
All I have to say to that is that if he stays next season for whatever reason you want to pick from that list, that tells me all I need to know about this ownership.
The owner's best pray it works out if he stays, because 3 seasons in a row and we get like somewhere 7th, 8th, 10th.
It's not going to work. We're seeing the guy's colours. We've seen it all season.
Bro, listen. I think from a player perspective that might be true, but the reality for them is going to be like, we need to give this guy a chance, and they will say that, bro. I can see it a mile away. That's the problem. Like, the reason why I was always wrong before, the reason why I was saying stupid stuff before was because I thought that these guys maybe had that level of winning mentality where they were like, we don't trust this guy. Let's move on from him. But the reality is they truly believe in this guy. And they may not actually move on from him at all. Now, I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, he's not speaking of them." I don't think as a manager he has to speak of them. Maybe there might be another reason as to why he's not speaking of the ownership at all. There might be because they're like, it's a big season.
You're talking sporting directors.
Oliver, your demons are coming.
Oliver, the demons. You need to reset your microphone.
I ain't voices in my head.
Jesus.
No, but when you get the point I'm making, right? You get the point
I get what you said at that point, and
that's why, and that's what is hurting him. That's what's hurting his case, bro. Sadly, you know, whether you want to admit it or not, that's just the problem, bro. I hate it. I hate that point, but you know, I feel like as Chelsea fans, I hate it, but I think as Chelsea fans, we're not really thinking about it from that perspective. We're just saying, look at what's happening on the pitch, yada yada yada, 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 and then bang bang bang. That's what it's saying, bro.
But the other thing too is that I think part of the reason, part of the added reasoning to why I don't think he's going to get next season is, I think as soon as he finds out that he's not going to get any power in the transfer window again, I think he's going to lose it. I don't think he's going to stay shut about it. I think he's going to express very much that.
You don't think that the club might actually say to him, you know what, you pulled us through the season, you've helped develop a lot of these players. We don't need to bring in any more, I would say, younger players anymore. You know what? Here's the keys. We'll let you have a bit more of an added say on the players that are going to come to help in the starting lineup. If you are to believe what S.I. Phillips is saying, right, where they're going to give him a bit more of an added voice, then who's to say they don't let that happen?
He's had 2 windows. And both these windows, he's had no power.
Bro, again, it's like, if you're being honest, the last January window was a major anomaly. That's not going to happen, bro. Like, if you're being honest, that January window that we had previously was an anomaly. Like, we can admit that right here. All of us here can admit that, right?
Yeah,
sure.
Of course.
Yeah, right. It's an anomaly. So they're probably thinking, we're waiting until the summer, we'll get you the big players and everything like that you want, and then bang.
But again, then why not do? It wouldn't make sense financially, because why wouldn't you have just done that in the beginning of the season when you had him, when you were already scrapping half of the deadwood, right? And you had an opportunity to
But the reality, remember, so the reason why they didn't do that is because he had already agreed to those players that were coming into the summer already. Remember, he had already agreed to those players when he signed the contract on July the 1st. That's something that I think we keep on forgetting here. On the reason why I have no sympathy for him personally. Now, again, this season upcoming, you're looking at it, they're probably going to bring the striker of his choice, whether it be Osimhen, whether it be Sesko is going to be one of those two. And we know that he said no to Vlahovic, and they said, you know what? We'll allow it, bro. You know what I mean? That's what he said, by the way. He said no to Vlahovic, by the way. Not the ownership. He said no to Vlahovic. So he clearly had some level of say. I just think for me, Mark. So I think for me, when you're looking at it, you're probably going to get another striker. You probably are looking at another midfielder. Now, I wouldn't be surprised there, because this guy loves his tall and long players.
Oh, you mean central midfielder?
Yes. Yeah, probably.
What do you mean by that?
I wouldn't be surprised if the club goes back in for Amadou Onana, you know. It would not shock me if the club goes back in.
I don't think we need to buy midfielders. I think that's like the
remember,
I guess it's for Poch if he wants
his two midfielders, Chris. He wants them nice and tall, 6 foot and above.
What's he gonna do with Enzo and Caicedo and all that? Like, was he gonna bench one, or was he gonna play all 3?
I wouldn't be surprised next season if we see something, where we essentially play a defensive 3, where it'll be Enzo, where he said Caicedo. So we say we have Caicedo, Enzo in the 8s, and then you would have like a tall midfielder in the centre.
What about Gallagher?
Fuck Gallagher.
What about Gallagher? Gallagher will be in there. If Poch is still here next season, Gallagher will be there.
He's gonna be left wing.
I'm gonna tell you right now, bro, I actually believe that he will eventually get sold. It will happen. Bro.
Oh, eventually, but
he will probably no, because remember that's was it? Excuse me, sorry. That's the summer window is going to be the last chance for them to sell him for any amount of money.
I think there's other things where Poch needs to focus on, like left wing, maybe.
Defensively, again.
Right wing, of course not. Striker, another. We need. I feel bad for Jackson, him being the only striker, because
I think for me again, Jackson will probably be either your style left wing or striker next season.
I think he'd be he just interchange, won't he? Just like, well, he'd be a left winger, be a striker. He's got to do both.
He should be the left winger unless we buy someone better.
I think we should buy a left winger. I think we should buy a left winger still. I don't know.
But again, this all depends on what happens. But again, you're probably looking at another centre back. The goalkeeper's not going to change. I just want people to understand that right now. No,
I don't think we need to buy centre backs. Really,
not really.
I think a left back, because we should sell Chilwell. Sadly, Maatsen probably goes, and keep Cucurella and buy another left back.
Yep. So that's just the reality, bro. You just got to get ready for it, man.
Yeah, I just disagree. I think at first I thought he was gonna get next season, but now it's looking slimmer and slimmer. The comments he's saying now, he's now verbally frustrated. You can tell with the situation there. But at the same time, I don't feel too bad for him because you signed up for this, man. You knew exactly what you were getting into. They told you. They must have told you. And if they didn't tell you, then that's criminal. You have been lied to, and you should sue. You should sue Chelsea.
No. Bro, we didn't need to tell him. It's been clear. It's been clear since January of last year that we were going down the youth model.
We should sue him. He lied to us.
If the fans knew it, there's no way that he knew any different when he was literally sitting in front of these sporting directors in an interview.
So, I mean, time will tell. We'll see what happens. I mean, that's one to keep a close eye on. Another one I wanted to bring up, too, is I think another manager that was on the table for us is now officially off the table for us. And that's going to be Arne Slot. We haven't heard of him since last season, but it could have potentially been an option. So news sources say Arne Slot has said goodbye and Liverpool move is expected to be done imminently. Feyenoord are actively working to bring in new staff and rebuild their coaching team. Then done deal, Arne Slot will be the new Liverpool manager. As stated earlier, deal was imminent and Feyenoord boss will take over from Jurgen Klopp. Compensation is around £12 million. What do you guys think about this move for Liverpool? And would you have wanted him at Chelsea if the case was that we weren't going to keep with Poch?
I don't know enough about him to be completely honest. It's hard for me to give a comprehensive review on it. But sorry.
Oh, I'm waiting for you, bro.
I've started to see some stuff today about his tactics. Like, you know, obviously as we get closer to Klopp actually leaving, we're going to start seeing more news about Arne Slot and like the Tactico is going to go over his tactics. He coaches a press. His press doesn't look very good from the evidence I've seen. Apart from that, I've got literally no idea what he's all about. So that's for me to do my own due diligence on. So I'll leave it to someone else if they know any better on the panel.
My knowledge again of him is very limited, but I know he plays attacking football, and he's very he's big on the press from what I know too. Oh, sugar, honey, ice and tea. The reality.
What?
Huh? I was about to say shit, but
everything good?
Sugar, honey, ice and tea.
That's PG. Yeah, that's some PG level there.
I kept that out, man. I was keeping it low for the guys, you know what I mean? But
the combination of that was just too good. You need that clip. Oh.
Well, okay, but
sensational, Ahmed. Sensational.
Listen, man, we do it big in here.
Sensational.
I want to bring up, yeah. But I think for me, the issue with Arne Slot is the same issue that I will have with any other manager, that the club will have with any other manager. Again, I'm speaking from the clue perspective, yeah. Just 1 second. The reality is, yeah, and this is what I'm saying, yeah. These guys are untested. You don't know, what's it called, yeah, just how ready-made, how ready-made these guys are. The reason why, yeah, I respect a guy like, what's his name, Pochettino, is that on some ways Pochettino was ready tested before he went to Tottenham because he was at Celtic. He was essentially, whether you want to admit it, Celtic is a big club. He has big pressure on him. He has eyes on him week in, week out. If something doesn't go right, they're gonna be onto that, brother. Why did it not go right? Why did you not win this week? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like it's like a mini buying job. So, yeah. So again, for me, he's untested. Yes, he may be a football purist, as Bull is saying, etc. But that for me sometimes is worrying because that usually leads to you know, saying it's all or nothing, and sometimes you're not willing to adapt your tactics to help you win a league. And that's something that you see in Pochettino, by the way. Pochettino is a guy that, you know, where's my sword? Is my sword here? Pochettino literally is a guy that lives and dies by the sword. You know what I mean? He's going to live by his tactics and he's going to die by his tactics. And he doesn't give a shit about anything else. And sometimes those managers, by the way, even though they're some of the best managers in terms of when their tactics work, they work. But when it doesn't work, bro, and they're not able to adapt or they want to adapt, which kills them. The reason why you like Tuchel, Marshall, for example, why do you like Tuchel, honestly, is because he has adaptable tactics. He can adapt his tactics to the team. Yeah. That's something that he used to do quite a lot at Chelsea, by the way, where he was able to tweak his tactics slightly to help him adapt to the other team, and that's why he always worked. That's why it always worked.
Well, I would say with Arne Slot based on what I've heard. Unless Curry, did you want to add anything?
Yeah,
on
sure.
Slot?
From the defense to the midfield, he actually suits Liverpool very well. It's high pressing, I agree, not to the same extent that Klopp does with Jurgen pressing, but it's still high pressing. But the way they have possession is less like Arteta and De Zerbi. It's more like possession with intent. So you're trying to use possession to get to the other half as quick as humanly possible. Because what you're waiting for is for their back line to make a slight mistake. And the second they do, you're like at their 16-yard box, like 18-yard box, like you're right there. So it's not necessarily counterattacking play. It's more so like we're waiting for the defense to make one mistake and then we're there, like in 1-2 passes. We're like right there in front of you. Why I'm saying it works for their back line kind of and their midfield is because he likes a very technical midfield. So McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch are great, but he will need a bruiser / destroyer, kind of like a Matic, if you want, let's say, and the midfield that they need to buy. And Jota works really well for them, but the problem is Jota's never healthy, and Gakpo's not clinical enough, even though the false nine kind of plays into it, but then they do need like finishers on the wing, like pretty decent, especially on the right wing if you're gonna lose a lot. The defense, I think they will need to buy 1 or 2 center backs that can ball play because Van Dijk works for that, but Konate, hell no, and Matip's too old for them. And they need a left back because their left back is dog shit. So they'll need at least 4 to 5 positions, and it just depends on how much they back him, right? Like if they back him monetarily with the players he needs, I think he'll be a success. I don't know if he can win
They
the
have
league.
Michael Edwards now, so
Yeah. So that's how it is. So I don't know if he can win the league, right? As long as Pep's here. That's a challenge, but he will definitely be up there, like in third, like battling for the title in maybe 2 years' time. I would give him 2 years. If he doesn't do anything in 2 years, I think that's more an indictment on the club not giving him the right players for his system, more than anything else.
No, nothing. So based on what I've heard from Arne Slot, one thing I did want to point out that no one's seen to point out, and say what you want about the Eredivisie, right? I think it's actually pretty impressive that he won that league last season. I know people want to say it's a farmers. Oh, it's fucking. Listen, that's a league that's, in a sense, it's kind of as impressive as Leverkusen winning the league. In a sense,
I think similarly
it's dominated by Ajax and PSV. It's always dominated by Ajax and PSV.
I think similarly though
it's impressive. Go ahead.
Similarly to the whole situation in Germany with Bayern Munich, I think they're two very similar situations. You've got a competitor that the likes of which haven't been seen in either division in a very long time. In Germany's case, Leverkusen. In Holland's case, you have Feyenoord. Also, the top, the big clubs in those countries, Bayern, Ajax, both been mismanaged. Ajax, since Overmars left, have not been run well, and when Ten Hag left, it was even worse. Their scouting has been poor. Their management selection has been poor. They looked like earlier in the season they were going to get relegated. That's how bad they were.
And also pointing out with Arne Slot, and this is something that we were just emphasizing with Tuchel, apparently a lot of the players respect him. That he has good man managing skills, which is something that was mentioned being really important. I think players have quoted saying that they respect everything he says, and because everything that he says comes true. I think he is tactically versatile in the sense that maybe he has a system of play, but he plays it differently depending on the opposition. So I think he's going to do a good job at Liverpool. Time will tell. I don't think Michael Edwards would just, co-sign just any manager. I think it would have to be the right manager. And we've seen, and we were talking about this earlier, ever since Michael Edwards left, the signings that Klopp has made have not been very good. And you could argue ever since he's left, it's been a decline for Liverpool in the sense of what they've achieved. But I think it's going to be interesting to see. I wish we kind of threw our hat in the ring. It would have been nice to hear that we threw our hat in the ring, because I'm at a point. I don't know about you guys. I'm at a point where, Ahmed, you asked this before about Thomas Frank. You asked if we would take him. I'm at a point right now where I'm more than open to take a manager who has no pedigree, but has some style of football or has something to him that shows me, okay, maybe with better resources, with better backing, because we know our owners will back the manager. Maybe they can cook. Maybe they can do something. I don't know if Thomas Frank's the right guy, but I don't know. But I'm not gonna like sit here and cry if we get Thomas Frank, because at the same point, I saw what he did with Brentford last season, and that is impressive. He Ivan Toney in that team, and Bumo, like, he had very few tools, and he got a tune out of them, and he made them like a little bit of a bogey team for a lot of these big teams. If he can do something like that at Chelsea with more resources.
But the problem is, bro, he's not the one that's doing the scouting, by the way. He doesn't do the scouting again at Brentford. Brentford is very similar to Brighton, where they have a similar system, if I'm not mistaken, no?
I don't want my manager to do the scouting.
Well, but the problem is, again, Marshall, even if I agree with you that I don't believe that, I just don't think Thomas Frank's the guy that you put your...
I don't think so either. He's not my first choice. I'm just saying it could be, honestly, because there's no world-class managers out there anymore.
I think it's a general point about, like, people. Yeah. I think we talked about this in previous streams. Like, there's a lot of snobbery around managers, but when you actually look at it for what it is, there are a lot of managers that are, not very well known. They're doing better jobs than Poch right now.
Yeah, and this was
at clubs with less resources.
This is a discussion that was brought up with Winter Surfer, which I'm resurfacing right now, and I agree with him.
But the problem is, bro, I can get snobbery. But the problem is, snobbery kind of is necessary when you're at the top, bro. Because there's some guys where I'm just like, no, bro. You just gotta say no, bro. I'll be real. You just gotta say no for some guys, man. Like Thomas Frank, he may be able to handle, a Brentford, get the best out of these players, but is he truly going to be able to do it at the top level?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got different reasons.
But do you have that belief in him, though? That's the question I always ask, yeah? Okay, if you think this upper command is going to be good enough for us, do you truly believe in your hand of heart? Can you see it in your eyes, yeah, that if he comes to a big club, is he going to be able to handle those guys? Yes or no?
I mean that's not my first thought right now, because I've got different concerns with...
Everyone has different opinions in it, but for me, that's why I always ask myself, can I see this guy doing the job that he's doing right now at a bigger club? Is that possible?
See, for me, I guess the way I see it for me is that if I'm willing to bring back Potter and let him work with this team that is more malleable than the team he had before, maybe Thomas Frank can do it as well. Again, I'm not saying he's my first choice. I'm just speaking generally. I wouldn't be opposed to giving this team to a potential manager, a manager that's shown signs that he can do something, versus maybe a proven manager that this is what we just did with Pochettino. He wasn't the best choice, obviously. And maybe, who knows, maybe if we got Luis Enrique, we'd be having a totally different season, because he was my first choice last season. But, time will tell. But also speaking on the snobbery thing, right, and getting managers of pedigree, let's transition over to this next topic, which is apparently, and I spelled it wrong.
I beg, we get him. I beg, we get him. I swear to God.
Apparently, there's been some links saying that we are actually still in contention for Amorim, which is good to hear, because I think right now he's the best of the bunch based on what he's done. But here's the news. According to Vince, 3-man Chelsea shortlist in case Pochettino leaves in the summer, according to Team Talk. Ruben Amorim, Hansi Flick, Roberto De Zerbi. Then we move on. Fabrizio Romano, we've seen some reports about Ruben Amorim being linked with Chelsea as a potential replacement for Pochettino, but I'm not aware of concrete contacts so far. We will see closer to the end of the season. Amorim is keeping all options open. And as you guys already know, things fell apart with Liverpool. Now you see the Liverpool fans with the copium saying, "Oh, he was never our first choice." Shut the fuck up, bro. All right. Anyways, then we have here exclusive. Understand Ruben Amorim would be interested in another conversation with Chelsea if they sack Pochettino. He has previously spoken with the board in their last manager search, and it was very positive, according to Team Talk. So he's already spoken with the board. Last time we were looking for a manager. So there's already a foot in the door, in a sense. Kind of like what we were doing at Caicedo, kind of building it up. If he's a manager, I would be pretty content. I would like to give him a shot. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I know his football. I know much about him. I'm sure.
Marshall, the things I would do to have this man in the club. No pauses. I don't care. You could take it however you want. Dude, I've been watching him since January. I've been watching almost every freaking game of Sporting Lisbon. And also, Gyokeres said that he would go to whichever club Amorim is in. And I'm telling you, if you just watch Gyokeres today when he got subbed on, dude, this guy's so fucking good. This guy brings up play. He's great aerially. He's so fucking good. I told you, dude. Well, dude, he scored 2 goals in 2 minutes when he got subbed on for like 10 minutes of the match. He is so fucking good. He has like 30 goals in the league. And he's like 22. On top of that, he fits us to the T, by the way. Like,
wasn't he closer to 25 and 22?
No, sorry, 25. My apologies. Yeah. What do you call it? Besides, the only player I think who doesn't fit him is Enzo. And everyone else fits him. Everyone else in our team fits him. Because it would be, I know whatever we think of Reece James, it would be like Reece James maybe even as a right center back. Because he wants a center back to move up to, you know how like Stones does for Man City, like goes up to the midfield. It's kind of like a similar situation. So that would be Reece James. You would have Gusto, and then based on our reports that we're keeping Chilwell would be on the left side, right? And then your other center backs, based on the ones we have, would be maybe a Colwell on the left and Disasi/Fofana if he's healthy. And then Lavia would work. I think the pivot would be a Lavia and a Caicedo, and then he actually has, in a way, 2 10s, part of his front three, which is Trincao, who's a left footer, very similar to Palmer in terms of playmaking and ball striking. Obviously, Palmer's better, and then you have Edwards, who's pretty decent, but you could have an Nkunku operating at the left wing, that half space on the left side, and then if you have Gyokeres, dude, oh my god, I'm telling you, my guy. Oh, he's so gonna cook this fucking league. We already have the players for him. We just need to back it up in terms of backup positions or a better left wing back / left mid in Chilwell, who's dog shit. Yeah, go for it.
So if I may, this is good. Are you guys there? This is a question even to wider part. Are you guys not worried that he's slightly being a bit too overhyped?
No.
I just think the management market isn't great.
I say this because as we were talking about what's known, but I'll tell you why. The reason we're talking about Goncalves is so good. But with regards to how we're talking about with Slot, with PSV Eindhoven and Feyenoord, and then Leverkusen for Alonso, this man has won Sporting 2 leagues in 4 years that he's been there, and they hadn't won a league in 20 fucking years. They had not won a league in 20 years, and he has won 2 leagues in 4 years since he's been there. He took a Braga side that was a relegation fodder and made them like top 8 to top 6, and then took the Sporting job the next year. And he fits us perfectly too, because even we say that we're not a good transition team, and that's fine because in a sense, we don't have the players like that, and that's fine because he likes to play a more patient game of like possession-based football, right? It's more similar to, you could say, a Pep. It's not like De Zerbi where it's super anal, I would say, because De Zerbi I feel like was too anal about it. But I think it's very similar possession based, and if he can tweak it like he was saying and have Enzo with that possession based football, it would definitely work for us. I would say that. I don't think he's overhyped. I'm not saying like he's the next coming, but if you're talking about the managers available, because Inzaghi's not available, he's going to be available next season if Inter don't renew. Alonso's not available, and he's probably going to take the Real Madrid job. I'm betting you money on that. So the only one we have is Hansi Flick because Nagelsmann's renewed his contract. Klopp is not going anywhere, like not coming to us. That's for sure. I think he's the best manager out there. Like he's literally the best because Thiago Motta is already being pre-signed for Juventus too. If you want one.
But to a certain extent, though, I agree with Ahmed. I am a little concerned with the hype because I feel like if we bring this guy in, you're gonna have the fan base and maybe some of us on this panel saying, "I expect top 4 and the FA Cup." It's like Jesus Christ.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say we would definitely be challenging for the top 4. I can't fully guarantee you it. Like it depends on who. Like if we get a Gyokeres and get a better left mid/left wing back, and shore up the defense.
The club is gonna have to target top 4. I know Marshall might not want to hear that.
Yeah.
Whoever you bring in, you have to target top 4.
I think, but Marshall, I think based on how shit we're saying the league is, we can. I'm sorry, Liverpool's. I'm not going to say they're falling off a cliff, but I don't think they're going to be.
Liverpool's not going to be as good as next
exactly
season,
this
season.
And we don't know who's going to stay in terms of is Salah going to take the money. And I'm no offense, there's no one in the world I can see for now that's going to get the genie that Salah's been getting for them consistently over the years. And they would have to develop that player. Even it would take a year or two for whoever they bring in, anyways. And I think Kubo from Real Sociedad is probably their best bet for a like. But that's the thing. It's like they're going to fall off a bit. And some of their old guard, besides Alisson, would start falling off. Like Virgil van Dijk is 32. By the time that right winger gets good, he's going to be 34. Right? So it depends on how they back up the manager too with Arne Slot. That's the thing. So they're going to fall away. We don't know how Spurs are going to do because we can say the manager is pretty good, but we know how the board works. They will never back this man financially. They will never back this man financially. They're literally thinking of fully buying Timo Werner because he has a bio clause of like 20 million, right? And they pulled off this big heist of getting Dragonson, but Ange hasn't even played Dragonson. Like he's played in like 3 games since they got him in the winter, right? And then Villa. It depends once again, who do they keep? Because I'm assuming big sides are going to target some of their players. Like I'm assuming Man City is going to go after Douglas Luiz. We don't know what's going to happen to Watkins. We're not going to know what's going to happen to some of these players like Kamara or Konsa. So that's the thing, right? So I'm not saying I can guarantee you, but I think like 3 of the top 5 teams in the league right now are going to be very iffy, based on either the manager leaving or how much they're going to be back financially. That's
a really good point that I feel like is not being brought up enough is what the season is going to look like next season. And I really think that the Premier League is going to be completely all over the place next season in terms of who's going to be the next, team to potentially win that. I could see it. If they keep Arsenal, if they keep Arteta, I could see next season being an Arsenal league if Pep doesn't stay. But, time will tell. We'll do our predictions when the time comes, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you guys did bring up this player, and I did want to transition over to it, and that's going to be Gyokeres. And I think it's safe to say that if we do get a Ruben Amorim, then this player comes with him. Victor Gyokeres has a very strong relationship with Ruben Amorim and would absolutely play for him again. That is the point the striker has made clear. Even if it's not him, or a combination between him and Diamonde, I think one of those 2 players are coming, if not both.
Yeah, based on how we're scouting, right? Because we sent I remember in March alone, we sent 4 we scouted him 4 times. Like we sent scouts to support him 4 times. It's either for Amorim, but we were thinking at that point because we didn't know how Poch was going to do a Diamande most likely. Once again, it depends, but he in 30 games, Gyokeres has 26 goals and 10 assists. Right, in Europa League in 9 games, he has 5 goals and 2 assists. Right, like he scored 2 goals today, and he was on the subs bench and just came on and scored 2 goals in a minute and tied the game.
Impressive.
For Sporting.
Really impressive.
Yeah, and he was banging in the league and
phrases.
And he was banging it in for last season in the championship too. Like he was top scorer, and he's top scorer for the Portuguese league.
Oliver, has your opinion swayed in any direction over this player?
I've always been very high on him since I first saw him. So, not really. I mean, I've not watched quite enough of him as I'd like to, but I mean, the record speaks for itself, and all I hear about him, wherever I look, is that his fundamentals and his all-round attributes—they're all at a top level based on what he's doing this season. I'd love to take him, and for people that want to ask questions about with an Osimhen, does he have the all-round game? You don't have to worry about that with Gyokeres. So he's a very complete player in that aspect. I'd definitely take him.
But Curry and Oliver, I'll ask you guys this: are you worried that this is just what Osimhen did last season, a one season, performance?
Sure. No, that's a great point, Marshall. But the thing is, the monetary hit isn't going to be as much, right? There's apparently reports, I remember in March or Feb, that he signed his new contract had a release clause of, I think, either around 80 million euros or 80 million pounds. Let's take the higher. Let's say it's 80 million pounds. Osimhen is being marked at anywhere between 100 to 120. That's a difference of 20 to 40 million pounds alone. And let's say it's the higher end of 40 million. Diomande has a release clause of 50 million. So you're telling me for Gyokeres, for Osimhen, I could get a Diomande and a Gyokeres?
For another 10 million.
10 million?
Yeah.
Right? I was like, I would take that hit. And the price tag of us having another 100 million pound signing isn't gonna, that's gonna be a weight on Osimhen, no matter what. He's gonna be, once again, the weight of being a Chelsea number 9, which is impossible. He's gonna be our third 100 million pound signing. In 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Right. And the last striker who was almost 100 million pounds was basically 100 million and 97, and he flopped for us. And he was another guy from Syria. So that narrative is going to pull through like crazy.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Part of me is starting to open up more and more to the idea of bringing in Gyokeres to the club. But I think I'm more open to the idea if Amorim was the next manager we bring in.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
I mean, I've got my own questions on Amorim personally. I've watched a little bit of him, but really just some of the tactical breakdowns. I'm not too sure on him personally.
I understand that.
It's kind of to what Curry was saying earlier about Enzo wouldn't fit. I don't like how Amorim sets up his midfield, and I would be hoping that if he did come to Chelsea, that it would be a thing where, okay, that's Sporting and that suits their players. He's going to come to Chelsea and do what suits our players. I hope that's the case, but I can't be sure.
Yeah, kind of like what happened with Tuchel. Everyone's
basically
Tuchel was going to go 4-2-2-2 and all this and that, and then he ended up switching up to a 3 at the back system.
Yeah, pretty much to that sort of effect. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope that's the case too, because from what I've heard, and from what it seems that Ruben is a very he's willing to be versatile and flexible with his system and his tactics. He comes from the school of tactics, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, but if we're basing it on what he's done at Sporting, I don't like how he uses the midfield. It's the same thing that Poch does, where they play far apart. I want a double pivot. I want an actual double pivot. And then I just think this squad needs surgery if it's going to play a back 3. I hear people saying we can play a back 3. No, we can't. If we're going to sell Chalobah, then we need a new right centre back, because I'm not trusting James or Fofana to play in a back 3 because they'll just get injured. We need a new backup right wing back, so that Gusto can get a rest at some point. We need 2 left wing backs. The squad needs surgery at that point. Look how many players I've just listed there. That's, we can't be doing that. We need the way we are right now. Like, if we get the right manager in, we only need a handful of players.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you go this back three thing, it's surgery.
Mm-hmm. I understand. So time will tell. We'll see what happens. Over 70 of you guys watching on YouTube. Please, if you have a minute and if you're liking the content so far, 2.5 hours into the live podcast, be sure to smash the like because it does help us out with the YouTube algorithm, and I do appreciate it. And if you're new, hey, hit the subscribe. You're more than welcome to come back. We have more content coming for you later on in the week as well here at Casually FC because that's what we do. We make it happen. All right, let's continue on with more transfer rumors that I have for you guys, and then we'll start to wrap it up. We have to talk about other news as well. One more link here in regards to the striker is Sesko still being linked, and now even stronger links. We have Fabrizio Romano here reporting the following. Chelsea remain keen on Benjamin Sesko. They're still deciding how much they want to invest in the striker and have been tracking him for the last few years. And I believe the next tweet is actually related to him. No, it's not. Okay. I believe Sesko. Okay, yeah, this was something earlier. €80 million release clause. I believe that's oh no, that's Openda, that's someone else. I think he has a 40-something million euro release clause, something like that.
I think it's 50 million. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we've spoken of him briefly. It's looking, these links are getting stronger, which is what I mean, guys. Like, we're starting to hear more rumors, more and more now, of transfer window links and all that stuff happening. Don't forget that the transfer window is going to be opening in about a month, a little bit more than a month. So it's time for transfer news to come in, and we're going to be hearing a lot of stuff. So tune in here, obviously, if you're interested in that kind of stuff. But I mean, Sesko, any opinions on Sesko? I'm not very versed on Sesko, I'll be honest.
Like, it's not the same hype as last season because he was like having some like goal records to Holland did in Salzburg, but he's had a very rough first half at Leipzig, but it looks like since at least a late like Feb, he's been doing pretty well. Like, he's right now on a very hot streak, and he scored in the past 4 games right now, it looks like, and he's been getting good ratings for it too, based on that. So maybe it's just that he's growing because he's only 20 years old, and he's getting the game time he wants because of, you know, people leaving and injuries and so forth. But it looks like he's performing better now, like the past, I would say, 3 months. But it's like, that's what's happened with Jackson too, right? Like, Jackson had a hot streak the last half of the season, and we got him, and this guy's another really young guy. He's 20. So, like, we're going to have a Jackson and him. Like, that's the only issue I have. And then we have Adapter Fofana, who's like 19, who has already 4 or 5 goals in the league, right? And is getting familiarized with the league. So it's like, that's why I'm more fine with like an Osimhen or Gyokeres, because at least there's an age difference where you can learn, and there's a succession plan as well, you could see, for at least Jackson or Fofana, whichever one turns out better, let's say. But now you're gonna have like 3 players in the same age group, like fighting for the same position. It's, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd rather just stick to giving a chance to Fofana. And listen, I think next season Jackson's going to improve. I genuinely think Jackson will prove to be a better striker. I could see next season Jackson getting to the guaranteed 15 goals in the season, just in the Premier League alone. I could see him improving on his finishing. I really, really can. So for me to get Sesko, when like the Gyokeres and Diamonde links, it makes sense because if we're linked to Amorim, it would make sense to have. Excuse me. It would make sense to give Ruben some players from his previous team. That makes sense. It's not any nuance to that. It's been done before. Erik ten Hag is currently doing it at United. So on and so forth, right? So that makes sense to me. Sesko, I don't know. I've not heard very shining things of him. But at the same time, I don't distrust this recruitment. Like in terms of the players that we've obtained, other than Mudryk, and now you can maybe argue Madueke in there, most of the recruitment has been doing just fine. But Oliver, did you want to add anything on Sesko?
I don't want him. If we're getting a striker, it has to be an upgrade on Jackson. I'm not convinced that Sesko is that. And this isn't by me watching him. I've literally not watched a minute of him bar maybe the Champions League group stage, if he even played then, because that was me just generally watching Leipzig just because I was bored. So I can't remember. But on the statistical side of things, this guy, you know, he was great in Austria, but that's Austria. Like RB Salzburg are literally the Bayern Munich of Austria. So I don't really care for that. And as much as he did put up Haaland-esque numbers, that hasn't translated to the Bundesliga. I'm not going to say, because he can't do it in the Bundesliga. I'm just saying, you know, we've got a player who's doing similar numbers in the Premier League. So, you know, why make a sideways step and have two of the same level of output in the same squad? We should be looking to upgrade. Like, there's literally no point in not upgrading in that position, because Jackson is good. So we should only be doing it if we're sure that the return will be better.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the second to last topic. And that's going to be potential move for Raheem Sterling. Telegraph coming out with some links or potential rumors for Sterling to go to Saudi. And at the end of the day, I think this is going to fall on Sterling, but it seems like the links are still there, and that's always a promising sign. So Chelsea may be open to offers from Saudi Arabia for 29-year-old England forward Raheem Sterling, while 25-year-old Spain defender Marco Cucurella could be sold. Now, Marco Cucurella is involved in this as well, which I find to be a little bit of a curious case. But Sterling, I think, look, say what you want about the season, about what he's done before in previous clubs, but I don't know. I never really wanted Sterling. He's never been that player for me. He's always been frustrating for me. And he was frustrating in the Man City days as well. And so for me, Sterling, cool. He looked great under Tuchel for a little bit. Terrible last season, and spurts and moments with Poch this season. If he's supposed to be the experienced player, I'm not convinced. And it's just, to me, just not good enough. But, I mean, boys, I'm sure you have things to say about Sterling as well.
Get him gone. Get him gone. When I'm seeing similar numbers in terms of goal GA per minute to Mudryk, and Mudryk we think is a bum, and he has the excuse of being young and hasn't played a long time professionally. And we have a man who's been in the Liverpool squad since he was 18. Yeah, he can go fuck off. We can spend that money literally for anyone else, especially with those wages of like 300k. Nah, he can go. He can go where the sun don't shine, to be honest. Because like I rather have like anyone else. Like, we got a young kid, and I'd rather give an opportunity more to Angelo in Strasbourg after he comes back from injury, or just take Amari Hutchinson, who's been doing amazing for Ipswich and scored 2 goals for them during this weekend again. So I'd rather give those guys chances more than this bum. Like, that's how much I don't rate what he's done for us. The only game he showed up for us, luckily, is I think like he scored like a hat trick for like when we played like a Luton or something earlier in the season. No, not Luton, but some low-level team. And then for Man City, he stood up. So I'm not here paying 300k a week for a guy who shows up for 3 games in a fucking year. So no, thank you. Please go to Saudi.
It's also the wages.
I don't even think. I can't lie though. I don't even think about the wages though. He's just not good enough at all.
Yep.
Like, regardless of what he's being paid. I would have. I know I was just talking about Jackson in the previous segment about, you know, we shouldn't get Sesko if we can't upgrade on Jackson, but I would actually have Jackson start on the left wing next season.
Yeah.
Just out of him being the best and most consistent option, the guy that actually seems to have the best football brain out of everyone that can play on the left wing. I'd have him play there. But in terms of Sterling, I was someone that wanted him, and early on, it looked like that it was going to be good because he was playing well under Tuchel. But the problem I have with Raheem Sterling is that his mentality is piss poor. When Tuchel left, he pretty much just lost it. He was dribbling under Tuchel. He was beating players. He was looking like a threat. When Potter came in, that just all went away. And granted, there was some of him playing at wing back that didn't help that, but that was only for a handful of games.
He also did get injured. That's another thing.
And he got injured, yes. But I'll forgive him slightly for that season because it was just a shambles altogether. But under Pochettino, again, it's the mentality. I just don't like his mentality. He only wants to show up for small games and against Manchester City. But every other time, he's completely useless. And people want to get on Madueke's back for being poor at tracking back when this guy is literally the king of having no defensive work rate or whatever.
And I think one thing that bothers me, and yes, you're absolutely right about that, by the way. That is 100% true. The work rate is... Talk about setting an example, right? That's not what I want to see from my experienced players, especially when you're supposed to be the experienced one that the younger attackers are looking up to. And now we have Madueke and Mudryk doing similar things when they play. Listen, the less I speak. But I think also another thing to point out with Sterling is the decision making is what absolutely baffles me. And I understand to a certain extent, like in Palmer's situation, right? Not passing the ball and taking a shot for yourself. But, you've proven that you've been clinical for this team. You've proven that you can score goals and take this team and carry it on your back. Sterling, I'm sorry. You've not done that enough this season. And not only that, when the passing option is the best player in the team in Cole Palmer and you don't trust him enough to pass the ball to him, I'm sorry, bro. Get out. I'm done. I don't want to see Sterling anymore.
I've got a good...
Go ahead, Oliver.
I've got a good analogy for this. I'm going to credit Strasbourg Steve for this because we were talking... I think we somehow got into a discussion about Kovacic. I don't know how it started, but we would. Steve was talking about this analogy where, in a team, you're either a truck or a trailer. You either pull the team forward or you basically get pulled by other people. Sterling's a trailer. That's the way I see it. Everything. He's not the one inspiring the team, and when he does score, it's usually of someone else just getting him the ball in the right area. He doesn't really opt to create anything himself.
Yeah.
And also Sterling has 6 goals and 4 assists, and Madueke has 4 goals and 1 assist, but Sterling has it in triple the minutes of Madueke.
It's insane.
Like triple the minutes.
Yeah.
And this guy's 2 goals behind.
That's the thing. I mean, before the GNA was masking the performances, but now there's no GNA to even mask the performances as of recently. So,
and that's why I hate purely GNA players because it will always dry up.
Yeah, exactly.
Without fail. Look at Mount.
Yeah,
literally.
But I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting close to wrapping up. This is going to be our final topic, which is one we haven't discussed, but it's also a big topic. If you haven't done so already, we are 3 likes away from 60. We have over 70 viewers. If you haven't smashed that like, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it if you have, if you will, if you do, because it helps us out tremendously. And you have no idea how far your like goes to helping us create content here on Casually FC. And hey, leave a comment if you got this far into the video, if you're watching it, or if you're listening from work, whatever it is that you choose to do with this live podcast called the Casually Chelsea Show. We appreciate you regardless. It's a nice little way to wrap up all the news into one 3-hour condensed show. We don't always try to make it 3 hours, so That's that. It just happens to be 3 hours of discussion most of the time. But anyways, before we wrap up, as like I said, smash the like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Check out the links in the description. And let's go on to our final topic, which is the biggest topic I wanted. Well, not the biggest, but one of the big topics I wanted to discuss, which is Enzo Fernandez is officially now out for the rest of the season. And yes, people, it's true. It wasn't discussed before, but now it will be discussed. Let me just bring up these tweets and let's check out what happened. So Matt Law earlier in the week reported Enzo Fernandez set to be ruled out for the rest of the season. We heard news from another outlet as well that Enzo Fernandez is contemplating surgery and he is likely to be out for the rest of the season. Then we saw him play against Arsenal and put on a stinker. And we'll talk about the decisions being made as to why he played and all that, but let's continue on with some of these tweets. Enzo Fernandez is expected to undergo surgery on groin injury that will rule him out for Chelsea's final 6 games, which start away at Aston Villa on Saturday night. Then we have here Chelsea confirming that Enzo has gone ahead and gotten the surgery. He should be back in time for Copa America. It's not overly complicated surgery in the sense of how long the healing process takes, but it's something that we'll discuss. Chelsea midfielder Enzo Fernandez on social media after successful surgery on inguinal, I think that's how you pronounce it, inguinal hernia. We'll continue on. Enzo Fernandez has been playing with the pain for the last 6 months. He's quoted saying, "I needed to get this surgery since I've been dragging the pain for about 6 months," which is absolutely insane to hear and explains a lot of the reasons why we haven't seen him at his best or seen him anywhere near what he was like last season, aside from Poch as well. And I brought this up because this was the incident that we brought up earlier in the season where we were questioning, is Enzo crying because of pain? This pubalgia thing that he had? Is he upset because he's not playing? He looked genuinely like, he was crying. There was tears down his eyes. And it turns out now, hindsight 2020, this whole time, and this is the game where it started, he's been playing with this pain that has caused him to be like this. Listen, I understand players always play their seasons through injuries and all that stuff. It happens at the highest level. It's not easy. It's never easy. And, when... Listen, this is a hernia. Like, hernia is no joke. Shit fucking hurts. I don't know how this guy is even walking, let alone putting strain on his body. He sure as fuck can't be sprinting with a hernia. That's a sure as damn positive you can't do. So he's probably made it worse. And I think what bothers me the most about this isn't even the criticism on Enzo. Now I feel like the criticism is more, okay, you were playing with a fucking hernia the whole time. That makes sense why your performances weren't always A tier or S tier. I think what annoys me the most is that the medical staff and Poch knew that this was an issue. And rather than stepping up and saying, listen, Enzo, you need to go and get your surgery because I can't have you play like this. I know you can do better. I know you can perform at a higher level. And you're not doing it. And the medical staff for saying, okay, let's pump this kid up with painkillers and pain injections. Listen, I've said it here before. I understand that Enzo is still young. He just turned 23 in January. This happened when he was 22. He made these decisions, right? You're still young. You're still making immature decisions. I think his pride got the best of him, and he said, no, I can play through this. I can play through this. Wants to avoid the surgery, all this and that. I think these are the moments with a manager where you put your arm around a player and be like, listen, I'm not going to play you. Go get the surgery or go fix up your situation. I cannot do this to you. and that's where yes, Enzo wanted to keep playing, but that's, like I said, that's where the manager needs to step up and tell them, listen, you cannot play like this. I need you to be at your best. And you cannot be at your best if you are in pain and I have to sub you off and all this and that. It's just, to me, it's mental. It's mental. So, I mean, that's my 2 cents on the situation. I'm sure you guys feel very similar, but I mean, I'd like for you guys also, if you want to, share your thoughts on that.
I think maybe it's also, I agree it's a pride thing, but maybe it's him trying to help the team because Lavi's out for the season. Then you got Uguchuku out for the season. So he's like, it's only me and Caicedo because he's playing Gallagher at the 10. Like, who do we have as backup? So I think he tried to play as much as he physically could until he's like, okay, we're in no position to do shit. Right? Because after we lost to Arsenal, he's like, okay, there's no fucking point. I also want to play it for Copa America. So this is the latest I could have pushed it. And now it's time to get the surgery. Right?
It's
when you have no
insane
midfield backup, because, like, let's be honest, Poch never played Casually unless it's like 5 minutes left and he wants fucking height. Santos, who is balling for Strasbourg now, literally balling, is out loan. He brought him back from Nottingham Forest. And also brought in Casually, who was getting game time. He wasn't balling, but he was getting game time. Brings him in to play him for like a grand total of, I think it's like 15 minutes so far since he's come back, because he's been subbing him on for headers. And we lose those headers every time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I think it's a little bit of that too, I think. Also, it's like reports were saying like there's been disagreements with the medical staff and the technical staff, that being the technical staff of Poch. So it's like the medical staff could have been like, yo, he can get the surgery anytime. I'm guessing Poch is like, well, I have no fucking midfielders because I'm a dumbass. So it's like, hey, how long do you think you can play?
That's the part that pisses me off, though, Curry, is the fact that, like, okay, I understand he is one of the important keys to your team. I understand he's a key player, but dude, how about start playing players in their position like Levi Colwill at center back and other players. Chilwell stop playing him at left wing and all this and that.
And
how about give Maatsen game time?
Yeah, and
how
Jordan's
about
gonna be a good point too with Carney. He's like, even when Carney's healthy, like before Carney couldn't play against Aston Villa, he was healthy for Arsenal and for Man City and all these things. Where if you took Enzo out, you could have put Gallagher there, just like you did against Everton, and then you could have had Carney at the 10 if you want.
Dude, so, what vexes me is that you brought. What vexes me is that in the preseason, you had Casually and Santos playing in the pivot. You brought back Casually. You could have planned for Enzo's departure, tying it for a small bit of the season, because I think it's about 6 weeks.
Yep.
Not even, maybe less than that. About 6 to 5 weeks of recovery. You could have planned this so that you were covered when Enzo wasn't here. Why did you put this player's health? Why didn't you put this player's health first ahead of your ambitions for experimenting with the team?
Yeah, he could have done it after we lost to Liverpool, like in the Carabao Cup, because there was an international break in March, and we had easier fixtures then. We were playing bummy teams.
In January, we had easier fixtures.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you have an international break, and even Scott was saying last time, like, it's like Enzo's only played in the team twice for internationals because they know they need to rest him because they probably know he has his injury. He's like, I'll be there in the squad because he's passionate about playing for the team. But that's the reason why they've been careful with him.
I know the players have a say whether or not they want to play or not. You know, I know whatchamacallit. KDB did the same thing last season, playing through painkillers and stuff like that. But they had things to play for. And even if last season, when they still had Gundo and Mahrez and so on and so forth, even if KDB went to Pep and been like, Pep, I'm in pain, I need to get surgery, I think Pep would have made do. I genuinely think Pep would have made do. Pep wouldn't have forced him to be like, listen, I need you. I can't. You can't get the surgery. You need to play through it. I think Pep would have figured out a way to make do, and that's why I don't rate this manager, man. This manager isn't competent enough for me to be versatile with his tactics, to make do with what he can. As of recently, I should say, he has been, but I just really don't think this manager is competent enough to be more flexible with his tactics when need be, and it costs our players their physical health sometimes. It's just honestly so baffling. Oliver, did you want to add anything to this?
I just want to give some perspective here. I've been doing a little look on Google to sort of figure out what this whole hernia business is, and it is what I've found. I'm going to read some things out to you. It is nothing short of a disgrace that this player was allowed to play through that. I'm just going to read now some things that make hernia symptoms worse. And this is the following, and I quote: prolonged standing, prolonged sitting, coughing, laughing, sneezing, straining during a bowel movement, getting in or out of a car or bed, bending forward, crossing legs. This is an everyday problem. This isn't a thing where he steps on the football pitch and this affects him. This is something that affects him every minute of every day. And we played him through that. It's shameful. And I don't blame the medical staff, because the medical staff only have the power to give advice to the manager that you cannot play this guy. And it's up to the manager to listen to that advice. If the manager decides to play him, the best thing the medical staff can do is load him up on painkillers. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Which they did.
That's the best thing. They literally have no other alternative. What are they going to do? They're going to let him go and try and play through pain. And it ended up getting to a point where, Enzo said it in his Instagram post, the pain injections weren't enough. And it wasn't safe for him to continue playing. He was too bothered by it. He said he's been dealing with this for 6 months. That means he had his first symptoms of this in October. It's just shambolic. And listen, people can make theories if they want to. I've seen some people theorize, did the owners force Poch to play him? I honestly can't brush that under the carpet, because they told Potter not to play Aubameyang. So maybe that's the case too, but I'm not gonna put blame on them immediately. I'm gonna assume it's Poch, because Poch has a history of doing this. Poch played Harry Kane injured in a Champions League final. And there are many other examples this season where he's injured players through playing them and bringing them back when they're not ready. So it's just shambolic, no matter what way you look at it. And even for the player, I understand pride and wanting to help your team, but you've just got to sometimes know when to bite the bullet, and you're done. You don't wait 6 months for this. I get it with football fans. We love players fighting for the team, but I want smart players more than I want more smart players than I want passion merchants.
Like it's a difference. It's a difference. Like KDB last season, the guy is competing for the treble. Yes, the pride is going to get there. Yes, he's going to want to force himself. He's going to get pissed if Guardiola doesn't play him. I understand that, and also KDB is a veteran of the game. He understands what's a battle worth fighting for and what's not worth fighting for. He understands when to take his losses and when to try to force himself for the win. He understands his body. Enzo is still young. He still thinks he's on top of the world. He can get through this and this will be fine. It's just a hernia. It's whatever. I can play through it. I don't feel it when I have the pain meds and shit. Why do you think that the pain injections stopped working?
The KDB thing is such a good one there, because that just shows when you should be doing these sort of things, when you should load yourself on pain meds. Kevin De Bruyne, when they were fighting for the treble, he was 32 years old, trying to get his first ever Champions League. At that point, you've got nothing to lose. Enzo has his whole career ahead of him. That's the difference talking about here.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit here and say like this is going to be a career-ending like injury. Like, yes, this is something that does happen, but it's again like I think if I am the manager and a player who is clearly injured and literally to a point where he's becoming a liability on my team at times because he can't make those extra runs. He can't last the 90 minutes. He can't push himself when I need him to push himself in the dire minutes of the game. I think I have to look at, well, what are the pros and cons and what am I competing for? And is it worth me putting this player's career in jeopardy for me to not just tell him to get the surgery, put my arm around him and be like, listen, you need to get this surgery. I need you to be 100%. I can't have you playing like this. Like, it's not like you twisted your ankle. It's not like, you have Caicedo, I don't think he's playing it with an injury, I believe. He still has that from time to time. I don't know if he actually has it recently. I haven't been paying attention because I'm so used to seeing that knee brace around him. But he was playing with that knee brace around him. He was playing injured. But there's certain injuries that you can get away with playing. This isn't something you can. And it's very... big up to Dark, by the way, for 14 months of membership. Wow, going through the trenches for this long should be a crime. Drinking the pain away. Yeah, I don't know if you're talking about me going through the trenches for 3 hours now or Enzo, but regardless, it is relevant. And big up to Jacob. Sorry for your loss today.
Win. Just win every time.
But yeah, I think this is one of those moments where an inexperienced player like Enzo at a young age, you as a manager need to take the initiative to sit him down and explain to him that, listen, I can get Andre Santos to fill in for you while you're recovering. You are still my number one. You are still Enzo Fernandez, my World Cup winning center mid. You are still a part of this team. I will integrate you into the team in some shape or form. I'm sure he's had that similar discussion with Gallagher and Caicedo, so on and so forth. So it's just, for me, it's one of those, manager really should have overruled the player's decision and did what's best for the player.
That's the thing, right? Because I don't care, like, whether it's an experienced player, whether it's an inexperienced player. You never listen to the player. The player will always say that they're ready to play.
The players are always going to lie. Which is, again, Oliver, this is where I go back to what I said earlier about Nkunku. It pisses me the fuck off that you wrapped Nkunku in saran wrap and bubble wrap and protected him so much to the point where I actually don't think he actually protected him. He probably rushed him too. But the same treatment isn't there for Enzo. What the fuck, dude? So it's just that just rattles me. That literally rattles me.
And this is where I was talking about Amorim tactically earlier, but Prime always brings the point up that Amorim keeps his players fit, and that is something that would be of great value to us right now. Based on what Prime says, he would be that guy to send Enzo to the surgery room.
Yeah. I think Nkunku is the one saying he's not ready. I don't think so. I think Nkunku was actually trying to push to get into the team as soon as possible. I think. I'd have to.
Yeah, this is Nkunku's. This is the biggest move in his career. He wants to play.
Yeah.
So.
No. Yeah, it makes sense. But any final thoughts on Enzo, ladies and gents, in the panel, of the wonderful Casually FC panel that's done 3 hours once again?
I guess all I got to say is, to all of you that turned your back on him when we knew, by the way, we didn't need to wait for him to go out with this surgery to know that he'd been dealing with pubaglia or a hernia, whatever you want to call it. For those of you that turned your back on him, you're not welcome when he comes back and proves you all wrong and becomes the great midfielder that he's got the potential to be, and to an extent that he's already got the ability to be. We've seen better than we have. We've seen better from him than we have this season, and there's now a context to that. So let's get him back healthy, and we'll see what he's like. And I'm sure he'll be fine. And you can all hold that.
Yeah, I voice what Oliver says, and it's like, we knew about this report as Chelsea fans since January. Like, we literally heard about this in January. And I thought, okay, the news subsided, so I thought maybe it'd gotten better, it had gone away. But then reports came out like 3 weeks ago that it hadn't. So it's like, what the fuck? So I'm glad he's getting the surgery. I hope this manager leaves so then he can be fine next summer and not run to the fucking ground in a shit system where he's playing a left wing at times. Like, hey, Oliver, think about this. He was dealing with this shit and having to do shuttle runs going up to left wing. That's fucking insane.
It's horrible. Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
He
That's
missed the World
insane.
Cup in training as well. Yeah.
That's so insane to me.
I hate you.
It just makes me so mad. So.
Yeah, all the best to him. I know he's gonna come back better and stronger, and yeah, just get this manager out so he can do his thing.
I agree.
Yeah, that's the main thing. He needs to come back to a new manager, and that's not even just because of the injury. It's because of the way he's used him. It's because of the way Poch is using the rest of the squad. He just needs to come back to another manager, no matter what angle you look at it from.
Yeah, I agree. But ladies and gents, that's the show. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you guys appreciate the content, not the contract. No prison contracts here. But as always, guys, you already know what to do. Smash up the like buttons. We made it to another 3-hour podcast. Smash up the like buttons. It is very helpful for the channel's growth. Be sure to subscribe as well. We're on our way to 3K subs. We finally got over the 2.6 threshold. Let's try to get to 2.7, please. And I appreciate every single one of you that help. Listen, we're going to have a very busy summer with many transfer window news and all that stuff. And we're going to be here to discuss it. So if you want a nice, spot to get all the bit of news and all types of discussion, this is the channel for that. All right, and I don't think anyone does it quite like we do it here at Casually FC, but we take the week's news since the last episode and kind of put it all into one spot for you. You don't have to click on multiple videos to find the news. You don't have to look through Twitter. I do all that for you. So I appreciate you guys' support. As always, subscribe, like I said, if you are new. So now you get the gist of what the channel's about. And yeah, stay tuned for very big things happening in the summer. But like I said, subscribe, hit the bell notification, leave a comment down below. Let us know if you enjoyed today's show, what you want to add to any discussion. We did have a big Thomas Tuchel debate here, so that was pretty interesting. And let me know in the comments if you actually want a Thomas Tuchel debate after the season's done as well. We can go more thoroughly with stats and presentations on what exactly went wrong at Bayern, if it was deserved or not. Also, be sure to check out the links in the description below. And as always, check out the memberships, guys. There's 4 different tiers starting at 99p. With more memberships, you get more unlockables. And that also leads us to more content that can be unlocked as well, which will be happening soon. So be on the lookout for that if you are a member. And as always, proper casuals and higher members get shout outs at the end of every show. And that's going to be Suproten, M3, Adam CFC, Wasabi Meets World, Orizant, Areditar, B-Man, JC, Ishi, A. Soliman, EE, Hassan Nawaz, Uncle Jester FC, Will, OG Triple Jesus, Dark, Adrian, Belu, Coco 624, The Danzo, Gabriel A, Adib, AK Satid, and Joel. Big up to you guys for your membership. All very much appreciated and helpful. And big up to everyone else who's also a member of Casually FC. You guys help us out tremendously on this channel with your support. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the raid message. Go ahead and copy and paste that and spam it. Spam it over in the EAFC Pro Clubs chat that Sarcasm City is currently hosting. So we're going to send you over there. As always, much love to Flawless and the man over there. We good friends of the channel. Go ahead and show them the 16 out of 10 treatment that we love to show here at Casually FC. Big up to the community. Big up to all you guys here, always tuning in. I can't express enough how much I appreciate you guys. But with that being said, we'll see you again, I believe, Wednesday. We're going to have a preview and maybe a really special guest. So tune in for that one. And then Thursday for the match reactions. So stay tuned. More content to come on Casually FC. And as always, stay casual. Have a good night. Peace.